Good evening. A regular meeting of the City Council held in Council Chambers on Thursday, September 12, 2019 at 7 o'clock p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on September 10, 2019 at 8:31 a.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. Councilors absent. Councilor Flynn. All of the councilors present. Council President Steve Dibble presided. Reminder to silence your cell phones. Council Fury moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. I'd like to thank our city clerk for overseeing the installation of our new PA system, Salem City Hall's first true PA system. You'll hear everybody quite clearly, those in the back, over the newly installed speakers throughout the room. The microphones, when the public comes up to speak, you will not have to do anything. But when each counselor is standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, I ask you all to adjust your microphones up towards your mouth and straighten them while you're standing. The microphone works best. Eileen and I had a nice training on this yesterday. They work best when they're about 10 or 12, 14 inches away from you. If you're too close, it gets too loud. Okay? And please don't touch the wind sponge, okay? Thank you. With that, yes, Councilor Fury. Yes, I'm sorry. One last thing. My microphone will stay on. Yours will have a color yellow on it. You'll need to push it to turn it on. And then please shut it off when you're done speaking, councilors, because it will pick up all of the vibration, the noise, static, everything else, and the clarity on the speakers overhead will be muffled, if you would. So only have your microphone light turned on while you're speaking. With that, I see that we have a few scouts in the house, and I would like to formally request that you all line up. I wasn't aware that you're coming here tonight, but if you will line up, and we'd like to ask our Boy Scout troop here to open this meeting with the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance. Would all please rise? Scouts, it's good to see you. Are you all from Troop 24? Yes. Excellent. Welcome. I presume that you're all working on a merit badge or two right now, so this is good. Okay. I have way too many notes here tonight. Yes. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. While we're trying to figure that out, could I ask for a special rules to allow the mayor and new new interim superintendent to just briefly address the city council?
Absolutely. Seeing no objection, Mayor?
Good evening. I know you have a very long agenda, so we'll be brief. We just wanted to take a minute at the start of the school year to introduce our interim superintendent, Kathy Smith. Kathy Smith comes to us from Brockton after a long and distinguished career there, leading a district that's larger than ours, but certainly also serves a diverse population. And we're thrilled with the work she's doing. As I said, the start of the school year has felt really enthusiastic and energized. I know she's been spending a lot of time in schools. Folks have seen her, parents and others, whether it's riding the bus on the first day of school, at drop-off and in classrooms. We just thought we'd invite her to say a few words as we kick off the school year. And I know on your agenda is to invite her and members of the school committee back for a joint opportunity, later this calendar year to share some of the good work that's going on. And with that, Kathy Smith.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. It is such an honor to be here in the city of Salem. Thank you to the City Council for allowing me to come before you for a few moments this evening. I came to Salem on July 1st. Sometimes I feel like I've been here forever. It is a wonderful place. I am learning all about the city. I'm spending, as the mayor said, quite a bit of time in the schools. We welcomed back over 500 teachers and professionals in late August, and there are just some great things happening here. One of the things that was something that I did in Brockton for many years, having served that city for 42 years, 6 as superintendent, and I do call Brockton, my home, was we developed very strong relationships with our state representatives, our senator advocating for funds for our children and children all over the state. Our school committee made sure, again, that the superintendent, that we had an opportunity to work with the city council, and not just at budget time, but I would like to come before you and talk about what I call the state of the schools. And that is something we'll be developing throughout the district with every department, every school, talking about our challenges, our successes. And this is a book that we can keep here in the city for people that want to learn about our schools, so that when we do come before you at budget time, you have an idea of some of the challenges that we're facing. So again, thank you very much. I look forward to being out at many events. If you have opportunities, please invite me to things in the city, and I'm talking more to the Salem residents, etc. If there are things going on, I really am looking forward to meeting with people and spreading the good word and hearing ways that we can improve every day in the Salem Public Schools. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Fury previously moved to dispense of the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Public testimony. Madam City Clerk, do we have a list of people interested in speaking tonight? That's perfect. Thank you. We have a few speakers tonight, so we're going to ask that you please keep your comments down to about a minute or so. Public testimony is not a public hearing or question and answer period. You'll have the opportunity to speak, but there's really no interaction from the counselors at that time. So with that, let's get started. First person is Amanda Miklik. When you come to the podium, if you can please, for the record, state your name and address.
Hiya, Amanda Miklik, 9 Hodges Court in Salem, 01970. And I just wanted to register my rather discontent that I saw on the agenda, an issue to discuss raising the Italian flag at Ripley Park in honor of Columbus Day. As a person who was raised in a Catholic Italian household with a lot of Italian pride, I think it would be a disgrace to raise it in honor of a person who is essentially responsible for beginning the genocide in this part of the world that has happened and has hurt so many. I do know the history of Columbus Day, and I know that a lot of people feel that it's a really important part of our American heritage. I actually know that because I am a family member of many family members who were members of the Knights of Columbus, who actually in 1930 worked really hard to make Columbus Day a holiday. And they wanted that because they wanted to raise up a person of Italian Catholic heritage that Italian Catholic boys could look up to. I don't think that he is a person that I want any of the boys or girls or gender non-conforming kids in this room to look up to.
Thank you. Flora Thonpak.
30 Robbie Street. Numerous people, I'm talking about the MROD, the Municipal Religious Overlay District. So numerous people have spoken in favor of the MROD so that affordable units can be created and the historic buildings be preserved. And this ordinance has already been amended with compromises and tweaks over many months or about a year. Such that we're now only talking about 3 buildings that really need the attention. Anything such as buildings left alone, unchanged, will decay, crumble, and rot. And furthermore, we, the taxpayers, would bear the burden of the cost. So as Elizabeth Warren always say, government should work for all of us. So I'm hopeful that tonight government will work for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm pretty sure we could all hear Flora speak, but if everybody else can speak closer into the microphone, try to be about 14 inches or so away. Next, Laura Lee Stewart.
My name is Lori Stewart. I live at 7 Barnes Road, and I'm the co-chair of the Barnes-Clark-Wyman Area Neighborhood Association. We formed our association in April of 2018 and have 144 members who live on Barnes Road, Ave, Circle, Clark Street and Clark Ave, Wyman Road, and some of Highland Ave. I am here tonight to testify in favor of the proposed zoning ordinance amendment map change along Highland Ave, or as we have been calling it, the Cineplex lot. On Tuesday, September 10th, we held a very well-attended meeting of our neighborhood association and voted on whether or not to support the zoning change needed for the project. We voted in favor of the zoning change, and it passed by a 2-to-1 vote. Let me give you some background. In 2015, people who live in our area of the city felt that the proposed Cineplex would create too much traffic for our area, given the current traffic problems on Highland Ave. When that project fell through, Councilor Peterson held a meeting called What's Happening on Highland Ave. Over 100 people attended, and many attendees were asked what they wanted to see go into that vacant space. A common theme was housing with a more upscale restaurant. Councilor Peterson met with a representative from Jefferson Apartment Group who was looking to buy the lot, and Councilor Peterson told them that what we wanted to see. We wanted housing with a restaurant. Early on, Ward 3 and Ward 4 leaders were engaged. You could even say we had envisioned the project ourselves. In January of 2019, Sandy Silk, the project director, met with Councilor Flynn and Councilor Peterson to get initial feedback, which was positive. We have held several meetings about the proposed development for 175 units of housing and a restaurant, and on Tuesday we voted to support the zoning change needed for this project. We feel that this project will have less impact on the neighborhood than what the land is currently zoned for, which is B2 and business park development. We ask that this area be changed to R3 zoning to support development with less traffic and neighborhood impact. Our residents are the direct abutters to this vacant lot, and we are asking for your support for this zoning change because it is what the neighborhood wants. We would rather have the housing than industrial or entertainment use. Thank you.
Excellent. I gather that everybody could hear. We just adjusted the volumes. Is it working well for everybody? Great, thank you. Emily Udi, please.
I'm Emily Udi, 8 Buffum Street, speaking on behalf of Historic Salem, and I'm here tonight to repeat our support of the religious and municipal building reuse special permit. City staff, city councilors, and members of the community, including Historic Salem representatives, have put a lot of thought and time into this clear and beneficial ordinance, and we look forward to its receiving second passage tonight. Additionally, in regard to tonight's agenda item about a potential invitation for HSI to speak, along with the Salem Historical Commission to the council through the OLA subcommittee, to speak about the boundaries of historic districts, we thank Councilor Milo and the entire City Council for considering this. In our discussions with residents, we hear repeated respect for the values that our Salem's historic fabric provides, and we hear a desire to ensure that development and renovations will align with and enhance the historic character of our neighborhoods. Having just sent to the printer HSI's 75-year history, written by Jim McAllister, I can say that the conversation would be a continuation of a lot of hard work over decades to preserve the irreplaceable and essential qualities of our wonderful 400-year-old city.
Thank you. Tim Jenkins, please.
Tim Jenkins, 18 Broad Street. I'm president of Historic Salem, and happy to say, and we're having our 75th anniversary book launch on Wednesday, and I'd like to invite everybody here and anybody watching to come and visit with us at Winter Island, starting at 5:30. But more importantly, I'd like to thank everybody here for their hard work on the MROD. I'm just going to call it that at this stage. I think it'll be very beneficial for bringing back some wonderful historic buildings and provide housing, and all of which is good. Also, thank you for a potential invite to speak to Ola and maybe the whole council about local historic districts and other options for preserving your property and neighborhoods and whatnot. I think it'll all be very positive. And as a final line, I'd like to share my wife, who's a poet's line, that a poem is never finished, it's merely abandoned. And I do want to say that I think when you're abandoning a really good poem, that's a good thing. And I think you've come up with an ordinance that may not be perfect, the MROD, but it has really addressed a lot of the issues that people have raised, maybe not all of them. We'd like to deal with affordable housing and solve that problem, but so far I think it'll move us in the right direction, but it'll certainly bring some buildings back. So thank you for all your what should I say? I guess it's you're like long distance runners, and you've made it across hopefully the finish line tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Paige Curtin.
Hi there, Paige Curtin, 90C Wharf Street. I'm here to give my commentary about the proposal of raising the Italian flag in honor of Columbus Day. I did email all of the city councilors this morning, so hopefully you've all received that. That was my own words. Tonight I'd like to center the words of Indigenous activists from Massachusetts. And they say, honoring Columbus Day celebrates a legacy of genocide and perpetuates ongoing racism and neocolonialism towards Indigenous peoples. Columbus did not discover the Americas. You can't discover lands that are already inhabited. The historical record needs to be set straight in order to respect the culture, language, and traditional lifestyles of the Indigenous ancestors who existed long before Columbus's voyage. Many American cities and states have already legally abolished Columbus Day and recognized Indigenous Peoples Day in its place. Massachusetts has long considered itself a beacon of progress for the United States as a whole and needs to stop clinging to the concept of Columbus as a hero. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Catherine Barbino, please.
Catherine A. Barbinell, 21 Mason Street, number 2. I just want to echo the words of my friend and former colleague in saying that I am very opposed to the proposal to raise the Italian flag for Columbus Day. I am of Italian descent, and I do believe that it's really important to celebrate Italian heritage and history, especially here in Massachusetts. However, I know my history, and Christopher Columbus, though an Italian, also committed atrocious acts of genocide. This man ordered his men to throw indigenous babies to dogs to be eaten alive in front of their mothers, who they then sexually assaulted. And I know this is graphic information and it's shocking for people, and you might not like hearing this, but this is what happened to thousands and thousands of people on the land that we're standing on. So I just want to implore the council to consider this history, to ask yourselves if this is the man that you want to be the icon of Italian heritage, because there are many, many Italian descended people and Italian Americans who could be much more exemplary of the celebration of Italian culture than Christopher Columbus. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you. It looks like Mark Patterson, 2 Beaver Street. I can't quite read your last name, I apologize.
Patterson, yeah, right. I'm 2 Beaver Street, and I'm on the Salem Historic District Commission in CPC. And we weren't very happy to find out that we were going to be surprised with our street being a one-way, the do not enter sign, out of nowhere without proper notification.
I believe we're being asked if you could speak more into the microphone. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
The least they should do is have a meeting that would inform all of the residents in the neighborhood about this change, because it is a significant change to make the street a one-way. by doing this, it makes one of my driveways, the upper driveway, which all of these people park in every day, it makes it a one-way. So they have to go to Peabody almost just to come back around and access the driveway. And it would be really easy to alleviate that problem just by moving the do not enter sign back 20 feet. Maybe even put a left turn only sign on the corner 20 feet in advance of that. And you could paint stop across the road and make it really obvious that no one can plow up through there. But the only ones that will be affected by that do not enter sign being placed down there is us. No one else in the neighborhood. There's no other house there. So it would be that simple.
What street is that again?
What's that?
Beaver.
Beaver. It's right on the corner of Beaver and Grove. I've owned the house for 30 years and it's always been just like it is. So to now suddenly have a one-way driveway that we have to drive all the way up around to Peabody to get to would be kind of ridiculous. And they all work in this direction. So that means they have to go by their house and look at it as they head towards Peabody through traffic and then fight traffic back. Hope you'll consider that when you consider the sign placement. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Jeff Cohen.
Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street. Although I very much support Gail Kubik being reappointed to the CERT committee because she's a brilliant resiliency architect, the Charlotte Forden Park Fund, the drainage pipe that Councilor Fury has motioned that Footprint be responsible for, the municipal special permit, and the traffic and parking proposal, I want to talk in reference to the Columbus Day motion. 2 years ago in 2017, No Place for Hate committee voted to discuss a potential Indigenous Peoples Day. We had a couple of issues at the time we were dealing with, like sanctuary, that were a little consuming, so it got put off. This year we decided to revisit it, but we wanted to have a real civil dialogue where we listen to people from the Native population as well as from the Italian American population in Salem. In July we had a meeting. Our meetings is we are a city committee open to the public. We invited people. We invited people who were part of the initiative, 2 Native people and 1 other in Marblehead, where they have Indigenous People Day now. And there was a lot of people from Salem representing the Italian American population, people from outside the city. We decided that we would have, as we always do in our meetings, that everyone in the room would feel safe and comfortable. And everyone was allowed to speak. And I felt personally the most positive thing was that most everyone in the room listened to all the dialogue and conversation. And what really was productive about that meeting was the ideas that came from every side and from people on the committee. Councilor Madore is the liaison to the committee and was there. We will have a subsequent meeting. We didn't make any decisions. There was enough ideas that would satisfy the Italian American population and honor Indigenous peoples in Salem because both communities are entrenched here and have a long history here. And so I'm personally inviting everyone as co-chair of Salem's No Place for Hate. We don't know when the meeting will be that we will discuss this, but I hope everyone who is of interest will come to that meeting, and they will be publicized, and the agenda will be on the city website. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Fawaz Abashar.
Fawaz Abushar for Harrison Road. In the last meeting, I did mention that things needs to go to committee before first passage but Kim Driscoll and her automatics forced the issue to go there, and we found out exactly why it shouldn't. The two major things that supposedly even was agreed on, the affordability, couldn't be even discussed in the committee because of the first passage. The same reasons that similar ordinance got turned down a couple of months ago weren't addressed in this ordinance that was passed through the committee last week, which basically put us in two bad decisions. One, to approve it, and we're not addressing affordability, we're not addressing where this exactly goes, and the other issues that was basically turned down before, or approve it, which will have more popular idea, because I don't want to turn this down and start the work from the beginning. But I definitely don't want it the way it is, because the way it is now, if it passes like today, this is only good for Kim Driscoll, her automatics, and her supporters and campaign donors. This is not a good thing for the city of Salem. We need to have affordability, that we found out that the 1080 is the max we can go, and we already agreed that's not affordability to Salem, because that's Boston 80%. And 10% was already there in all our projects, and it still does not define what might pop into this ordinance in the future. We keep talking about those 3 buildings, but we know this is what we are talking about today. Next year, it could be the Harrington building. The year after, only God knows what other building might go. I really don't know what to tell you, to vote for it or not, because I am torn between the two. I don't want to go back to 2 years ago and start all this again, but I definitely don't want this to pass the way it is. I hope you can discuss it a little bit today, maybe put some more things good for the city of Salem and not for the contributors to campaigns. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the public for their testimony tonight. I'd also like to thank the good Council Fury. I think our last meeting was probably one of our best meetings that we've had in my 3.5 years as a councilor. Councilor Fury stuck out his hand at the beginning of the meeting and welcomed me, and his hand was injured. And at the end of the meeting, he did it again. So thank you, Councilor Fury. Also to Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Sargent, thank you for your testimony at our last meeting. And you raised several major concerns, and all the councils listened to you, and Councilor Turiel expanded upon 1 or 2 of them as well, which was really good to see, the interaction. And then lastly, At-large Councilor Dominguez, thank you for your testimony on trying to get more affordable percentages into the ordinance that we were working on. And you got to a certain point and got to a roadblock on your ideas, but then the good Councilor McCarthy jumped in and backed you up and framed it into a motion, and it passed. So I like the way all the councils were working together at our last meeting. That was very good. Thank you. With that, I'm wondering if I can see or hear a motion to go out of order to allow our planners to speak. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to go out of order, page 24, committee reports.
Thank you, Councilor McCarthy.
Am I okay?
Yes. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you. City of Salem, City Council, September 12, 2019, the Committee on Legislative and Legal Affairs proposed the committee hall to move was referred to the matter of amending zoning ordinance relative to municipal religious reuse special permits. Consider the matter of recommend for adoption and as amended for second and final passage.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. As was referenced, the committee met last week relative to the ordinance. Oh, turn my mic on. Oh, I usually don't need this thing. The committee met last week relative to the ordinance that was in front of us for first passage, and as you alluded to, Councilor Dominguez opened the door, and I pushed us through it, I guess, or worked with Councilor Dominguez in order to get us to the point where we could pass first passage. During committee this past over a week or so ago, there was a broad discussion about a whole series of wording changes to the document, which is in front of us this evening, as I requested in the meeting. the city solicitor sent us, we met on Thursday, the city solicitor sent us all the changes that we had looked at the following day, Friday by noon, as I requested, and those are reflected in the document that's on everyone's desk and everyone's had in their possession since last Friday relative to the wording changes that were discussed and approved during that meeting. If everybody really wants me to, I will go through each individual change, or I'll just keep talking about the general overview. Mr. President, would you like me to review each change, or would you just
I've read the document, and I attended your committee meeting, which you did a fine job, and I'm okay with all the changes. Unless any other council would like to hear each of the, they're all fairly minor changes, but, well, actually, why don't you go ahead? Thank you, Council.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President, and in the document in front of us on section 611.3, in bullet point number 1, at the end, it's, as you can see it highlighted in red, it's 4,000 square feet per building. The words per building were added. In section 611.4, in the third paragraph, I guess you'd call it, the where after accessibility features, or it says non-commercial passive recreation, and in the next sentence it says, unless otherwise prohibited in this ordinance, existing fences and bordering walls may be replaced and/or. As was discussed, there was some concerns about the possibility of someone trying to create a fence that no one wanted, but it was addressed with that wording being a few words added. On section special permit uses on page, in section 611.5, in section 8, it says crafts related to stores selling jewelry, crafts, etc., where non-hazardous was added to make sure that if you were making jewelry or something, you weren't producing hazardous odors or whatnot throughout the building. In section 611.7 was added in the second paragraph after historical commission and in applicants' adherence thereto, just to tighten up the language in that sentence a little bit. And then in section 611.9, affordability, and was brought up earlier, but the sentence in the end in red, did I miss one? Which one? Oh, yes, there was a deletion of a paragraph that was in the previous section that didn't appear as a strike, that was stricken because it was redundant and didn't mean anything, so the discussion was, why is it there? So right, because it was the housing credit, thank you. So we removed that, but that didn't appear in red, so I neglected that omission. And then finally, on the section 611.9 affordability, the sentence in red at the end was added, until each time as the city amends this ordinance to require a higher percentage of affordability units and lower maximum income limits, developers of former municipal and religious use properties are encouraged and shall be supported to the extent feasible to increase affordability above and beyond the minimum requirements set forth herein. So that's what came out of committee. As was discussed, it's been an ongoing issue that, I mean, no one in this room is opposed to the idea of reusing buildings that are now in disrepair for whatever variety of reasons. I will just caution everyone that it is a reuse ordinance. The underlying zoning does not change. The underlying zoning remains the same, so any addition and or alteration would have to conform to the underlying zoning. In most cases, it ends up being R2 or R1. But it allows for the repurposing of this building for something other than its intended use, which was originally, most of them were schools or a municipal building. So it allows for them to be turned into housing, set forth with all the criteria that went through the first go-around that did not pass, and the second go-around that expanded on those and cleared up all the wording and did everything we just talked about. And we've got to the point where we're ready for a second vote, so the motion out of committee was to send it to the full council for their recommendation for second passage. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Unless someone wants me to say something more.
Yes, you did quite well. Thank you for sharing the edits. Any further discussion? Council Fury.
Yes, please, Mr. President. Just a point of person before I speak. My son, Johnny, was a Boy Scout, and he was sitting there a few years ago. and he had Council President Dibble as his scout master. What a role model Council Dibble was to my son Johnny. And Johnny got a great experience there, and now Johnny learned his cooking skills in Scout, doing all the different activities and camping and things like that. He's now manager of Hooters in Saugus. He learned those skills of cooking and life skills from our good councilor president, Steve Dibble. And he was very, very positive about the experience of being a scout. And what you see here in this chambers is the second oldest city hall in the country. Second oldest. And we have the chief executive here. This is the Congress. This is the Congress. And the chief executive is the mayor. Right here. Communicating and discussing the issues. So I hope you have a good opportunity to learn and be a part of the scouting process. My son now is the manager. And it's really interesting. The Patriots game is going on and all these things, and Hooters is very famous for sports and eating. When I go in, I'm 71 years old. I'm the oldest person going in. And they look around saying, who's this old person going into Hooters restaurant? But I'm very proud of my son learned scouting skills from our council president, and he's now manager of Hooters restaurant because of the scouting skills. And local government, and that's how we all learn local government, getting involved. And I hope sometime in the future that you may run for public office or some board. So this is the part of the process. Democracy isn't claimed, whether it's on the local level, state level, or national level. We're trying to get better. We're a human institution, very human. So I'm saying something about this proposal tonight. It's high noon tonight for housing, for this housing proposal. Housing is a very basic human right. This should be a part of our moral compass as elected leaders to make housing opportunities for these 3 decaying and unsafe buildings. They no longer bring in tax revenues. Each is vulnerable to arson, the homeless, and drug use. The word crisis in Chinese means danger and opportunity. We have a very real housing crisis in Salem. The danger is to do nothing and let this proposal die. They each are useless to the city of Salem now. Beverly has real problems now with the Bristol Junior High School with vandalism and drug use every day. This opportunity is a proposal to give each a second chance in new life in the city of Salem. Housing is a human crisis, and we need this as one of the many tools to give a positive impact on the much-needed housing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Any further discussion? Council Fury.
Councilor Dibble, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I think you summed that up very nicely. That was good. I just want to simply say that this has been a long haul. It's been 15 months or 16 months, whatever number you want to put on it. And then it's been about 10 months or so since it got to us on both versions, I guess. Whatever the math is on the number of months, it's been a long time. I think that the first go-around, it failed because I don't think it was a good product, a good ordinance for the city of Salem. And I was sorry to see it go down because it was needed to get these buildings renovated, but it was not a good ordinance for the city of Salem. And I got to thank the planning department and Historic Salem and the League of Women Voters of Salem and so many others who contributed to making this a much better document. So tonight I will be supporting this, although I voted against the first edition of this because it was poorly worded, I thought. It had words in there that talked about new construction that was allowed by right that didn't refer to the underlying zoning, Mr. President. And and it's the last time I'm going to say it, Mr. Daniels, but that clause in there about building new construction as tall as the tallest building on the same property. Those are just bad wording in any kind of ordinance. Zoning should be about numbers, and now it reflects the good that it can do to get these buildings restored, get some more units, some affordable, some not affordable, but more residential units in Salem, and get these buildings reused. So I will be supporting this fully tonight. And thank you to our planners for working with everybody to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think we have
similar concerns about housing and zoning and just a different idea of how to get there. I mean, I don't believe we should change zoning to accomplish something that we can do without changing zoning. Zoning is so permanent, some of the effects are felt right away, some 20 years from now, some even longer. So my view on this is that we can do it as we've done many other schools before by other means. Some of the means we used to use are not available now, but a friendly 40B is still available. And that's what I believe we should be doing to go in this direction. This is a vague rezoning that covers a lot of buildings, and it also allows a commercial component. Now, once a special permit is issued, all the rights of downtown zoning would be moved into residential conservation, R1, R2, and R3 zoning, with very little recourse for the people, the neighbors, and the voters. So I do believe we should go in that direction. An example, we've done many friendly 40Bs, not 40Bs that have tough rules by the state. We can do a friendly 40B with much leverage and the ability to say no, because we have over 10% affordable housing in Salem. We hold all the cards and can make all the rules, and at the end, if a developer doesn't go along with us, we have the ability to just say no. So I believe that's ultimate leverage and the ultimate rules on our side. Now, for instance, these schools may need to be redone. But some of these schools were built in tight, dense neighborhoods where parking is tight and market rate housing that may be only 10% affordable will have a strong impact on those neighborhoods. But if we use a friendly 40B, we can designate for senior housing only. As Swamps just did in old school, 100% affordable senior housing. Now, if we look at the whole picture on this, by helping seniors, in two directions. One is that seniors that need affordable rental units will be helped. But we also have seniors that want to buy down from their homes that are too big for them. And if we create that movement in the housing market by allowing them to move over to there, now their house becomes available for a young couple moving in, a family moving in. And that if that family was renting, that rental unit opens up, and we create movement in the housing market, a full circle of housing, and opportunity from one end to the other. And I believe that's the way we should go. It's said that this is only for 2 schools in the old senior center. But right off the top of your head, you have the old St. John the Baptist Church. Just down the road, you have St. Anne's Church. Possible South Campus St. Caridians. Salem State just dropped 2,000 people in enrollment. That could be moved on. And with this in place, a special permit there would allow, similar to a mini mall at South Campus, if that happened. It allows it in here. It allows a commercial component in a residential neighborhood. And I don't think that's something we should go down the road to do. So, all that being said, I think that's the way we should go. The other thing about the friendly 40B, PBD just did one, front page of the Salem News, August 6th, explained friendly 40B, but it has to have 20 to 25% affordable housing. We're only looking at 10% maximum. And if we do the HCIP, it's going to lock us at a 10% maximum. We can't do more. So, are we really concerned about affordable housing? Because I believe if we were, we would go that way with the friendly 40B, which would by right provide more affordable housing. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dominguez? No? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. I totally agree with many of the comments that we just hear from this very important topic. As we all refer, this is a human crisis that we need to address. And I'm all for supporting this initiative. But I also, as you noticed from last meeting, I also want to see more affordable into that. I'm very happy that the inclusion on the ordinance of the affordability is in there. But I also mentioned before that we need to be more aggressive. We wanted to see really the solution of this issue. I mentioned before that we see people leaving. I happen to be part of a community that is more vulnerable on this issue specific. And I see people leaving towns as we speak right now. Latino families that cannot afford to live in Salem. And to me, this is heartbreaking. Because when you see a family that cannot live where they wanted to live, it is very, 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 very dramatic and make a lot of issues. They have to start all over in another places. So with that saying, I wanted to see a little bit more action on affordability, and I wanted to propose a motion, if it's possible, in this body, that we change the affordability to be 10 maximum percent to 60%. 80%, I'm sorry. I'm not backing up the numbers. To be at 60% instead of 80. That's the motion that I wanted to bring it in, and I wanted to have this by roll call vote, because if we really wanted to compromise and see this targeted, we need to tell the general public that we really mean that we wanted to see solution on affordable housing. So my motion, I want to refer it again if it was not too clear. I move that the affordable rate is being changed from 80% to 60% to allow for more affordability, and I ask this to be by roll call vote. Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping here. We need to accept the report of the good Council McCarthy and his committee. On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. On the motion by Council Dominguez to increase the amount of affordable units from 80% to 60%, excuse me, not units, the affordable rate, rather, from 80% to 60%. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll? Sorry, Council McCarthy.
First, thank you, Mr. President. Procedurally, there wasn't a second, and second of all, before I even, well, is someone going to second that? Oh, sorry.
I'll second. Second by Council Flynn.
On discussion, I'll take it now. Under discussion.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Anyone who spent time at the meeting the other night, the city solicitor was here with us, as well as Mr. Daniels, and I don't have to reiterate what we said. We had this discussion a week ago today at length about the affordability aspect. No one in this room wants to deny the fact that the affordability rate at 80% is probably not the right number. What that number is, no one in this room knows. We can assume it's closer to 60. Those are what the people in the know are telling us, but at this point we don't know what that number is. And we were also cautioned by the city solicitor that if we change the number, which is not consistent with the way that we conduct business currently with the zoning, rest of our zoning book, the way it's written, she cautioned us that it would probably not stand the muster of challenge. It would stand, if challenged, would not stand up. So we're all going down a very dangerous path. We've been advised by our city solicitor not to play with the number. The number is what it is. If you want to play with affordability, I use the word loose, I shouldn't say play. If you want to entertain the idea or engage the idea of affordability, you want to be serious about it, the next thing that's coming up on us, down the pipe, down the road with zoning, is the one we should address affordability with. That would be affordability, that would be a statement across to all of our zoning, not just this one particular group of bills. So, as I stated earlier, this ordinance, and I don't want to rehash all the arguments that we had a week ago and over the last 18 months, this ordinance is about repurposing buildings. And as you stated earlier, Mr. President, it's about taking all those months' worth of work and coming up with an ordinance that's in front of us that addresses the repurposing of these buildings and leaving the underlying zoning to try to protect our neighborhoods. It also allows for special permit, which is a very robust process in order to address all the concerns that anyone may have. But specifically with regards, and I respect Councilor Dominguez for bringing this in, but specifically with regards to changing from 80 to 60%, we were cautioned by our city solicitor a week ago in this meeting not to do that. That's why it came out of committee with the 80%. For anyone who wasn't members of the council that weren't at that meeting, cautioned us not to change that 80% because it would not stand up to challenge. If someone challenged it, we'd be back to square. So with all that being said, I respect Councilor Dominguez, and I respect the idea of what the number should be or shouldn't be. Obviously, 80 doesn't seem to work. What that number is, whether it's 60, 65, or 70, I have no idea. But until someone tells us what that should be, I don't feel it should be, we should try to do that, because I can't reference exactly which community, but some community from some, or a story that was relayed to me, changed it, and now they're looking to go back. At least a certain, if they went from 80 to 60, they may be going back to 70 now, because it's a very complicated formula, and I don't think we all have enough information. That's why the city solicitor suggested we keep it the way our current zoning reflects it. So that's all I'm gonna say on this. I will not be supporting a change to go from 80 to 60. Not on the merits that I don't believe that we need to change the number, but on the fact that we've been advised not to. And we've done way too much work on the rest of this, not to get to the point that we can cross the finish line on this. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you. Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm personally a huge advocate for housing, and I think that the reason, as frustrating as it has been that it's taken this long, I think probably one of the biggest reasons is that this is a complex challenge that we're facing. And we all know, we've heard it a million times, we've probably all said it in this room a million times, that one tool is not going to solve every single problem that we have. And I think we are getting to what we need to do is, as this body, face this complex challenge with a toolbox of tools. And by putting it together the way we've been doing, that's what this ordinance does, is it takes all of our input and puts it together as the first step, the first tool in this toolbox. And we all know that we have all these tools coming down the road, and we need to be able to come together and move forward. We can't get stuck on the idea of trying to get every single tool to individually solve every single problem that we have. We need to pass this, and we know that by adding affordability to this, to adding a specific number, then we are kind of kicking ourselves in another way, and we're going to have another tool coming very soon, as Councilor McCarthy alluded to, that is going to address the affordability, and we all want that. We know we all want that. So we need to just pass this today as it is, all our hard work that we've all put together, all the advocacy that's come into this room from the public, and then we can start working on the affordability, and we'll get there. But we can't sink this tool, or else we can't keep moving to the next tools in the toolbox. Thank you.
Councilor Mallow, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is this working?
You have a light on your microphone?
Well, the light's on, but I don't know about the distance thing, you know. Is it closer?
Let's give it a shot.
Closer? Because I know I tend to not have a very loud voice. I truly appreciate my colleague across the aisle and his passion for affordable housing. I share that. What I will do tonight is I will support this ordinance as written, this ordinance. Going forward, I will look at every ordinance through the lens of affordable housing, because clearly the majority of people who have come before us and who have spoken at, whether it be a public hearing or public testimony at the beginning of a meeting, that's where the need is the greatest. The other thing I'm looking for going forward when we talk about all these tools that are coming before us, percentages are great, but they don't mean a whole heck of a lot if you don't attach a dollar number to it. I see these AMI 80%. That's nice, but what does that mean for numbers? Is AMI 100,000 and 80% of that is 80,000? So if you have to be making 80,000 to be eligible for this affordable housing, these are the types of detailed and meaningful conversations I think we have to have going forward. So, as I said, I will support this, but my focus going forward is going to be on affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to agree with most of what I just heard from my last couple of colleagues here. I very much support more affordable housing, and I think the goal of having 60% or more is a laudable one. We're in a kind of a unique situation with this particular ordinance in that this is a mixture of city buildings, with a city building which is being repurposed as ownership housing, and church buildings which are being repurposed as rental housing under a different agreement. And we already know that the signed developer of two of those properties is a developer who affordable housing is all they do, the North Shore CDC. So we're going to see numbers on the church buildings that well exceed and are well better than the 10%, 80%, because when it's talking that stuff, that's not a ceiling, that's not a floor, that's the ceiling, that's the highest income that you're taking. You can always take lower when it comes to those. So, and I know that that's a standard component of the CDC's work to do mixed income housing all throughout most of their projects. So with this, we are going to get families that are making less than the 80% number into homes, and that's going to be a benefit to this city. Ownership is a complex problem that we're going to have to try and work on. I think there's a lot of things that we can try and figure out as we go forward, as we look at things like inclusionary housing. We can have things like condo conversion limits. We can have tax credits for affordable, for places built as under a more affordable housing. We can take advantage of some of the other programs that we have to try and encourage more ownership at lower income levels than that 10%, 80%. But it's a complex problem and there's no one single solution. And in government, there are only X amount of levers that we can pull to try and do it. And we have to do things to try and nudge the private market into doing the right thing for the city. So with that, I fully support this ordinance. I don't support the amendment to it, but I'm just, knowing that also the absolute deadline before we'd have to start over is this Sunday, and I don't think anybody's coming to a meeting on Sunday. I'm also all for just getting through it.
Any further? Councilman Dorr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also fully support passing this ordinance tonight, the second passage. Ooh, I thought I remember, but I didn't. I fully support the second passage of this ordinance, and I also commend my at-large colleague for asking for more affordability for our residents. I think it's a really great, it comes with really great intention, but we have been shared information about housing affordability in the past 18 months. The Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board, our wonderful housing planner, Amanda Chincola, has been sharing all the information and analysis and the feedback from the two housing forums that were very well attended. That information has come before us. We've had a lot of time to digest it. This information is not new to us. We know what 80% of area median income is for Salem and for Boston. And the preliminary findings of the analysis shows that yes, 60% of AMI is better for Salem. So we are trying to be selective about what information we want to bring to this chamber. And if we are going to change that AMI from 80 to 60 on this ordinance alone, it is irresponsible because of the consequences it would create that my Ward 5 colleague just mentioned. It will be irresponsible to vote it down at this point after 18 months of discussion and compromise. It would also be irresponsible to the taxpayers who are watching us take that risk for this deal with 5 Broad Street to fall apart without this ordinance. So while it might feel good to support the 80 to 60 AMI, that good feeling is temporary. I suggest that I will not support the lower of the affordability. It's just not a good thing in the long run for this ordinance. And if we are truly serious about affordability, support the inclusionary zoning ordinance and bring your discussions there and talk about the 60% AMI, talk about homeownership, talk about the different density bonuses and the different ways we can incentivize more affordable housing production. All those discussions can go there rather than trying to shoehorn this in. We had an opportunity to pass the affordability in this ordinance with the previous version of it. It ultimately failed. The opportunity was right there. So I think we need to be a responsible council and it's time to vote this tonight.
Any further discussion? There being none. Based upon and I'll ask the good Councilor Dominguez, based upon the comments that we've had, Do you want to withdraw your motion, or would you like to continue on to try to get a higher level of, to 60% AMI?
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to make clear that I'm actually, in my profession, I'm a salesperson, and I think that when you try to target something, you need to go for the higher level. I understand the implication that if we increase it, but if we feel that we are not having the asking or the urgency to target the situation, we're going to be weak from now on, because I feel that we keep talking, we want affordable, but when it's come to the point that affordable is coming from us, we're afraid, we look other avenue, and we try to kind of manipulate the situation. At the end of the day, nothing's happened. And I keep saying, this issue has real life people every day, every second. Speaking right now, some people might have to make a decision. Are we going to be able to pay the rent next month? Are we going to be able to live here in Salem? And we keep saying the same thing. So I understand for the purpose of this ordinance, I'm willing to withdraw, but I wanted to make sure that this body understands that we have a real issue in front of us, that we need to really target it. I understand that the intention is there, but at the end of the day, the need is on people like minorities, seniors, and veterans that they cannot afford to live in Salem. And they might wake up tomorrow with the decision that the landlord said no more, like we cannot wait any longer. I hear people who used to own houses that they say no longer wanted to live in, and no longer wanted to provide affordable housing for my tenants, and I had to increase the rent. I have to because of the price, because of what the situation is. So we need to understand that this is real and that we need to target it. I understand this might implicate that might avoid the situation or something that we've been dealing with. I'm willing to withdraw right now, but I want to make sure that everybody understands that we need to target the situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On the adoption of the recommendation by Councilor McCarthy.
The second final passage.
Roll call. Yeah, by roll call vote. Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
No.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yeah.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
No.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes. On the motion for adoption for second and final passage, 11 councilors present, 9 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move for immediate reconsideration. The hopes will not prevail.
On the motion by Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Torrio, sorry. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Opposed.
Ayes have it, nays have it. The matter does not carry. Right, the matter does carry, I'm sorry, it's backwards on that one. Okay, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unless someone else has something else to go, move that we go back to the regular part of the meeting, page 2, I think.
Good idea. Page 2, Madam City Clerk.
Do we want to go?
Page 3.
Do we want to go to the accessory planning board? Well, we have
Take what?
the accessory living unit, and the board recommendation. Do you want to go there?
Where is that in the agenda, please?
Plan communications from city
Page
officials.
32.
I see a motion.
I move that we move to page 32, Mr. President.
See no objection. Madam City Clerk.
The communication from city officials.
We're on page 32 for those that are following
Starts
along.
at,
What page? 27.
sorry, it starts at 27. That's
Starts at
apologies.
27.
Oh, it's a long one.
Yeah. So it's communication from the planning board relative to 2 zoning ordinance amendments for accessory living units. And they submitted their report with the 2 zoning ordinance below with their amendments and modifications. Thank you.
So the reading's waived. Counsel McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be received and filed.
All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Counsel McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also further move that this matter be referred to the Committee on License, Order, Legal Affairs, Co-Post, and Committee of the Whole.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. Briefly, we got our package back from the planning department, and they've made a few strike-through changes that all appear in red. I think it'd be wise for us to go review the proposed changes before we take any action, so that's why I move that the matter go to the committee.
Any further comments? Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Counsellor McCarthy that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted, you said co-posted, correct?
Correct.
Co-posted with Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Counsel McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I further, is there any place else we need to go? Thank you, Mr. President. I further move that we return to page 3.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk. Hearings.
Order from AT&T to install a telecommunication on a pole located at 40 Liberty Hill Ave.
Appearing in favor? Counsel Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know that this is usually out of order, that someone appears in favor, someone maybe appears opposed, but because of some technical difficulties, the abutters weren't able to be notified in enough time, so we, through working with the city clerk and AT&T representative, that we asked to keep this, that the hearing remain open until our meeting on October 10th.
Thank you for getting the word to the neighbors. It's good. Okay, on the motion by Counsel Gerard that the matter be left open and the hearing be held on October 10th, I think you said?
Yes, please.
All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Hearings.
The order from Comcast to...
All right, Counsel Sergeant.
We have some people here, but I just want them to understand what happened.
Counsel Sergeant, go ahead.
I just want to let one of the abutters understand that it got continued to what, the next meeting? Is this?
No, October 10th.
And may I ask, is this?
October 10th, not the next meeting.
Okay, it's October 10th. Is this one of the same situation that was defeated earlier, or was asked to be moved? If I could just have clarification for the gentleman,
I
please.
believe it's the same poll, just with a different provider. No, Counsel Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. No, totally different pole. This pole is actually going to be located at 40 Liberty Hill Ave, so this is not in front of 27. This is now on the Green Lawn side, further down, closer to Bates School. It originally was 27, and 27 was unfavorably viewed at the last time that we spoke on this in 2018. So they, and if I remember correctly, that the directive was for AT&T to find another pole that wasn't as close to homes, and so they did. But we just wanted to have an opportunity to make sure that all of the, and I should be clear that it will be new abutters based on the list that of people who are within that abutting zone around 40 Liberty Hill rather than around 27. So we just wanted to make sure that we got the letters out to them in time, and that if anybody had any questions, they could reach out to us.
Okay, that's good, thank you. For clarity, it looks like on the plan that it's right in front of another home, and that it looks like it's the same pole, but I might be way wrong.
Further down, so it's further down across the street from 41, and it's on the Green Lawn side. So it's nowhere near as close. It's across. I mean, and at that point, Liberty Hill is pretty wide, and so it's further down towards the Bates School on the Green Lawn side.
I'll show you the plan afterwards. It looks like the same pole to me, but we'll talk later.
I've seen it. It's definitely different.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any further discussion? On the motion, we already, no, excuse me, on the motion by Counsel Gerard.
No, we already did it.
We already voted on this? Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Hearings.
We have an order from Comcast to install a conduit at 127 Essex Street.
Counsel Gerard.
Nope. Tap from the door.
We're switching.
No, just ask who's here.
Councilman Dora.
Who's here appearing in favor?
Okay. Appearing in favor.
Good evening, Dave Llewellyn, Comcast. I'd like to speak in favor of the Comcast petition to place a 3x3 manhole over the existing conduit and 13 feet of conduit to provide service to 127 Essex Street.
On the discussion, councilors, any questions? No? Is there anybody else here appearing in favor? Anybody seeking to appear in opposition? Any further discussion from the councilors? There being none. Councilor Madore, I guess.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. I saw that this was Councilor Gerard's, so I completely missed this hearing and did not reach out. Can we?
We send about notices on
Okay.
always.
All
I
right.
just cut and paste wrong, that's all.
Okay.
So your name would have been there instead. It has
I'll
nothing
move
to
the
do
hearing to
with,
be
it
closed.
has nothing to do with,
On the motion by
Yeah.
Councilor Madore that the hearing be closed. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for this to be granted.
Under discussion, any? There being none. On Councilor Madore's motion that the matter be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry for having you wait. Appointments and reappointments.
held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Rayhana Youssef as an adult member to the Youth Commission with a term to expire on June 23rd, 2022.
Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion.
Yes, we're very happy that Ms. Regina is willing to serve in replacement on Mr. Michael. I wanted to thank Mr. Michael for his service as the youth commission. Like I always say, the youth is the future of our city, so we're very happy to see the youth involved in any capacity in our city. So I would like to send Mr. Michael our gratitude for serving and welcome Ms. Regina to the new capacity as a youth commission board.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Gerard.
Thank you. Mr. President, is Rihanna here? So if Rihanna isn't here, then we either have to postpone to the next meeting or we have to suspend the rule. Is it 29A or which one is it? 29A, thank you. Then we have to move to suspend the rule so that we can vote in her absence.
Okay.
Councilor Turner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will move that we suspend 29A for this. They're having a meeting across the street right now, so they're not available for this particular action.
So I see a second. Thank you. Thank you. On the motion by Councilor Turiel to suspend the rule to allow this to go forward, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Any further discussion? On the motion by Councilor Dominguez for confirmation, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes. On the motion by Councilor Dominguez, 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Alexandra Maranto to serve on the Salem Bicycling Advisory Committee with a term to expire on September 12th, 2022.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for this to be held under the rules.
Held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
The mayor's appointment of John Waith to serve on the Salem Bicycling Advisory Committee with a term to expire on September 12th, 2022.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for this to be held under the rules.
Held under the rules. Councilor Sargent. Could you help me out on this one, please? No. Thank you. Madam City Clerk. Further appointments and reappointments.
The mayor's appointment of Matt Caruso to serve on the Salem Bicycling Advisory Committee with a term to expire on February 11th, 2022.
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move confirmation by roll call vote, please.
No, it was held under the rules.
Held under the
Page
rules.
6.
Move that it be held under the rule.
Thank you very much. Held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Cynthia Nina Soto to the Salem Scholarship and Education Committee with a term to expire on September 12th, 2022.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion.
Just that Ms. Nina Soto, since she started getting involved in the city over the past year or two, maybe, has just been a spectacular addition, and I'm really excited to be reappointing her. She's giving a lot of service to the city, and we should be thankful for that.
Absolutely, thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Dominguez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to say something about my friend Cynthia Nina Soto. Happened that I not seen her for many, many years. I know that I said the same thing last year when she was reappointed, but I have to say how grateful and how lucky we are to have Cynthia Nina Soto serving in this scholarship board, and I wish we continue to see her, and we wanted to say thank you publicly to her.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Councilor Peterson, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. On the motion by Councilor Peterson, 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
Be the mayor's reappointment of Gail Kubik to the Salem Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee with a term to expire on September 12, 2022.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Just very quickly, Gail has been, she brings the expertise needed for this committee, and I'm glad she's willing to continue to serve.
Any further? Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to add that she's been such a valuable member as the liaison to the commission. We're so fortunate to have her, so I'm excited to reappoint her.
Excellent. Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Councilor Madore, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. On the motion, 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of the following to the building department: Stravula Orfanos and Stephen Cummings as assistant building inspector.
Yep, thank you. Councilor Fury.
Okay,
I move for confirmation by roll call vote, Mr. President.
Yes, thank you. Under discussion?
Say no discussion.
No discussion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Councilor Fury for confirmation, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
And Councilor Dibble.
Yes. On the motion by Councilor Fury, 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $356,839.65 be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback account to be expended for the list of employees below, mostly police and one engineering department.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be adopted.
Suspension of the rules.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
suspend the rules.
I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection.
I move for.
Councilor Peterson.
I move for adoption.
Under discussion.
Thank you. This is in honor of several people who have recently retired, and we want to very much thank them for their service to the city, and again, move for adoption.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to congratulate these police officers and Ms. Rose on their service to the city of Salem. And I've had the opportunity to work with these men and women, the police officers, and they really did a great job keeping us safe all these years. They're all great people. I know them all personally, and I want to wish them a happy and healthy retirement. Well deserved.
Well said. Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
agree. Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Council Peterson for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further communication from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $350,000 is hereby appropriated within the capital outlay fund to be expended by the planning department for Gallows Hill Park renovation project.
Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, Council Peterson.
Thank you. I move for adoption.
Under discussion.
Yes, this is my understanding is that this is due to the fact that bids came in higher. We did get a grant for this, but the bids came in higher than that grant. And so this is also for further remediation planning for this project.
Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Council Peterson for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $200,000 is hereby appropriated within the capital outlay fund to be expended by the Park and Recreation Department for Salem High School tennis courts resurfacing.
Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Seeing no objection, Council Peterson.
I move for adoption.
Under discussion.
Yes, thank you. I remember an early conversation that I had when I even first started running for the seat with a recent high school graduate who was talking about having to play tennis in the parking lot because of the state of the tennis court. And I know that's a lot of people that have played tennis for Salem and the community too understand the state of it. So this is exciting, and I move that we adopt it.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Council Peterson's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the Salem City Council hereby declares that Lot 1, the plan of land of Salem 289 Derby Street, is hereafter to be known as the Charlotte Fortin Park in recognition of her tireless advocacy for the end of slavery, equality for women and people of color, and education for all. And be it further ordered that a donation fund be established by the city treasurer to be administered by the city's Public Art Commission to fund the construction and installation at the park of sculptures and statues.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption by roll call vote.
Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. There was there was an online questionnaire or contest, or however you want to determine, to try to come up with a name for the new park, and Ms. Fortin's name rose to the top of the list, and then she's I can't think of there's someone who represents what Salem is all about. When you talk about what happened years and years ago. Couldn't be a better name to go on this park, so it's just, in order to name a park, it has to formally come in front of the city council, which it is tonight. And I also want to commend for the order to include some sort of, donation fund to set up that we can put something up to honor her contributions, and as well as herself in the park in some position of prominence, whether it be a statue, a plaque, or something, but in order to set up a fund to do that. And so I would move for confirmation of the appropriate.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm so thrilled that we're naming the park after Charlotte Fortin. She's a personal hero of mine, and we're so fortunate to have had her be a daughter of Salem, and to be able to honor her in this way, I think really reflects well on our city. And I'm excited to, be raising my daughter in a place where we're honoring people like Charlotte Fortin. So thanks to everyone for hopefully passing this.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council Fiore.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also support this naming of the park, if you would, and the donation fund that's being established. In talking to the mayor earlier this week at our weekly meeting, we talked about this and what happens if we raise extra money through grants and donations and other things. What do we do with those funds? And I think we both agreed of some wording in here. And if I may make a motion to simply amend the last sentence, the last line of this, where it reads, statue or other art piece and subsequent park maintenance and improvements to honor Charlotte Fortin. That's my motion.
Do I hear a second to that amendment?
Second.
Councilor Dominiquez, thank you very much. Councilor Dibble, please.
Yes, that's it.
Sure.
On the motion by, any further discussion, I'm sorry. Okay, on the motion by Council Dibble to amend it, adding the words, and subsequent park maintenance and improvements. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. On the motion by Council McCarthy for adoption by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
As amended. Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Dominguez?
Yes.
Councilor Dibble?
Yes. On the motion by Council McCarthy, all 11 councilors present, 11 voting in the affirmative, the matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have a resolution to recognize World Machine Awareness Day.
Councilor Milo. Will you waive the reading?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Oh, no.
Waive the reading? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I move for adoption.
Under discussion.
I think the resolution pretty much speaks for itself, so.
Thank you. Any further discussion? On the motion by Councilor Milo for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Mayor's informational page, none. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. In City Council, September 12, 2019, ordered that the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Community Service raise the Italian flag at Raleigh Plaza on October 14, 2019, in honor of Columbus Day.
Under discussion.
Yes, thank you. I was lucky enough to carry on tradition by the late Ward 4 Councilor Lenny O'Leary. He had a tradition of raising the Irish flag for St. Patrick's Day, and I've had the opportunity to do that for the last 2 years. So this year, if anyone wanted to rename it or leave Columbus Day out, I understand after listening to the people speak. But the purpose of it is to raise the flag in honor of our Italian-American citizens in Salem. They're very proud of their heritage and culture. And I had a couple people approach me and ask me if we could do this. I think it's great in Salem that we do raise the flag for different groups, different nationalities, and I think it'd be great for the Italian-Americans to do this. Thank you.
Okay, we've got Councilor McCarthy first.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the Ward 4 Council for that. Oh, sorry, I gotta turn this thing on, sorry. Hate this. I would also, with some of the testimony we heard today, I mean, it's all about the Italian heritage on this, so if the good Ward 4 Councilor is amenable, I would, instead of saying in honor of Columbus Day, we put it in honor of, I believe it's Italian, the whole month is to recognize Italians, I believe, so in honor of Italian month, or however the proper, I read it someplace that it's the month, the month is dedicated to, so in order to honor Italian culture, or that the service raised the flag at the Raleigh Plaza in honor of, I'll leave it to anyone's, Italian heritage, or Italian Heritage Month. I believe it's Italian, isn't it Italian Heritage Month? I saw read something. But anyway, I would have moved to strike Columbus Day and just to honor all Italians everywhere. I mean, obviously in or around a date that, if we take out the connotations of obviously, what we heard about Columbus himself, but the fact that there are a wide variety of Italians that contributed so much to our community as well as the country as a whole, and just recognize them as much as when we raise the flag for the Irish or the Polish or the Dominicans or whatever other time we raise flags for, just to recognize Italians during the month of October.
We had Councilor Dominguez, then Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm very happy to hear the comments on celebrating a different nationality. I think this speaks very high of who we are here in Salem. I understand that the concern about Columbus Day brought up by these citizens of Salem kind of brings some concern that we are addressing here. But I'm in comply with good Councilor for take it away. But I think that we all have to celebrate who we are, and this is part of the thing that made me move to say that diversity is not only by numbers, it's not only by faces, but celebrate who you are and be proud of who you are. And I think the Italian community, like everybody has said, have contributed a lot to the nation and to the city of Salem. So I'm very happy to see that, and I support this.
Councilor Gerard, then Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of things. Per our ordinances, under the mayor's section, or the responsibilities of the mayor's, section 2-145, only the mayor can raise a flag. I know that we've done this in the past for some other flags, but that was oversight and we shouldn't be doing that. So the only person who should be raising the flag is the mayor. And second of all, her staff, her department heads they don't work for us, they work for her. So we should not be ordering any department head to do anything. And thirdly, again, as someone of Italian heritage, as I've mentioned before, for those of you who don't know, my maiden name is Badalato. My grandfather's first cousin was Monsignor Salvatore Screnci, who led the parish at St. Mary's since 1945 until, I believe, when I was born, 1975. And having the Italian flag and waving in October, it's too close of a connotation to Columbus Day. I say that we just don't do this at all. I mean, A, we can't because of our ordinances, but B, I don't think that we should do this at all. If we want to recognize Italian history, or recognize the contributions of great Italians, recognize the contributions or just Italy is a phenomenal country that I'm going to next week. That we pick another month, another time, because otherwise it's too close of a connotation to Columbus Day. And as already stated, Columbus Day and Christopher Columbus has a terrible connotation. Something else that actually I learned that I think is pretty fascinating is that initially when Columbus Day was started, the first city that actually ever held it was Denver, Colorado, and that was in about 1910. And then it was in 1925 that it was first held, that it was first recognized in New York City. And the reason for it being recognized was because it was Generoso Pope. His Italian last name was Papa, just like the Pope. And so his reasoning behind doing this and pushing it, and he was a member of Tammany Hall, was because he was really into fascism and he supported Mussolini. And so I don't want Italians, and I know a lot of Italians, and I know my family does not want to be associated with this. So I ask that we reject this. As nice as the offer is, we just reject this. And if we want to talk to the mayor and coordinate with her office about raising a flag in honor of Italian heritage, because don't forget where St. Mary's was, that's Little Italy, and in Little Italy you talk to people all the time who grew up in that neighborhood and who live there now. And we should coordinate with the mayor, come up with another time of year to raise the flag, and bring it in the correct way, that this will be the mayor's order and she can coordinate who and how the flag raising will be done. Thank you.
Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. With a name like Milo, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't speak on this. I'm not sure if there is in fact a motion on the floor to amend the order?
There is.
Do we know what the name is? What the name was changed to?
I have it as Italian Heritage Month, and deleting the words Columbus Day.
Italian American Heritage Month.
And Culture Month. I just looked it up, and it's the proclamation that was passed by the President and Congress passed a proclamation called Italian American Heritage and Culture Month. How's that sound?
That sounds right. I told you I read something.
Councilor Milo, one more time.
Oh, sorry. The proclamation that was passed by the President and Congress was called the Italian American Heritage and Culture Month.
So moved.
Any further?
Did we get a second and then we can discuss? Okay. All right. And so now under discussion?
Under discussion.
All right, thank you. I'm supporting this as amended. I'm excited that somebody's finally raising the Italian flag to honor the immigrants and to honor the Italian Americans in Salem, of which I gave birth to one. I also married one. And I also have seen the buildings and the stonework and the masonwork and all the trades that have contributed to the beautiful buildings and structures here in Salem. And churches. We've got St. Mary's Church, now home of LifeBridge. Great stuff happening down there. So I'm going to support this wholeheartedly because I celebrate this Italian-American heritage. And I think we should all celebrate that heritage. And as my colleague across the floor said, we should celebrate the diversity, whether it's ethnic diversity, race diversity, income diversity, age diversity. We need to celebrate it all. And that's what this order is about. I think we need to take what we've done historically. If we want to change our practice in the future, that's fine. Tonight is not the night to do that. So I'm going to vote to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Council Dominguez and Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm passionate about this because celebration is an open, inclusive matter that had to be to all levels equal. And when we celebrate one, and we do not celebrate other because we qualify, because that other one is look this way or look the other way, don't really reflect the city that who we are. We're talking about inclusivity so many times, but in reality, when it's come to my mistake or your mistake, that's going to change the equation. And I think that we need to be very clear. Salem is an inclusive city, and we need to celebrate each and every one of the community that we represent here in Salem. We have so many American Italians here, and even though we have some bad history expressed by the good residents, there is a lot of good American Italy living here in Salem that have contributed to Salem, and we need to celebrate that. And I don't disagree on the fact that we need to change it and put it in a place on a day that is beneficial for others. We need to make sure that we have the equal opportunity for all, not only for one, for all. We very proud to celebrate each and each one of the diversity that we represent here in Salem. Me being part of a group that I'm being so many times be qualified because of any issue, I'm very passionate about this, and I say we need to celebrate American Italian heritage these days. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with the residents who brought this forward. I know that we've had a movement around this country and in several communities around the Commonwealth to rename the Columbus Day holiday. That maybe is a discussion. I know that, as Mr. Cohen said earlier, that's a discussion the No Place for Hate Committee has kind of begun, and that may come before us at some point for discussion. I honestly don't know how I feel if we get to that point, but it's something, as history has gone, we've learned a lot more, and we're a lot more aware of the role of Columbus and what he did as far as coming to this country, which he never actually came to. If I recall, he came to Hispaniola. But that said, we do have a really strong Italian-American heritage in this city, in this part of the country especially. That's something that we should be recognizing and honoring because we do recognize and honor other communities within this city. We recognize our Polish community, we recognize our Irish community, we recognize our Latino community. So there's a lot of that that's already happening, and I have no fundamental issue with extending that welcome, extending that celebration to our Italian-American community. What I would say is, and not knowing these, I would ask that if we're going to do this, and if I'm going to support it, first off, I agree with my colleague's proposal to change this to honor the whatever that mouthful of words was. And I would also suggest that because we're honoring what is a Heritage Month, that we do, if we're going to do this flag raising, that it should be on October 1st, on the very first day of October, and that way we're setting the tone for the entire month rather than tying it specifically to a day. Columbus Day remains a 3-day federal weekend, and we can call it whatever we like, but I'm fine with honoring a community. But I would also like to take some of that connotation away from it. So I know we haven't acted on the first motion yet, but I would move that we change the date on this from October 14th to October 1st, if I hopefully have a second for it.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Council Flynn. Council Sergeant?
Council Medora.
Okay, Council Medora, then Council Sergeant, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. The wonderful thing about America is that it's a huge melting pot. Anyone can somehow come up with a connection to Italian heritage, myself included, being an immigrant. My cousin and my aunt on my husband's side, the Aramidas, they are very proud of their Italian heritage. They make the best meatballs in the neighborhood in Dorchester. And okay, we'll talk about that. But my husband still thinks about it every other month. So I think the point is that if we're going to be celebrating heritage, we also need to celebrate all heritage. And having been the only counselor who went to that No Place for Hate committee, I will just recap that discussion for you. Everyone, whether you support Italian American heritage, a celebration of it, whether you're coming to the discussion as a Native American, I think we all agree that we need to celebrate everyone's heritage. But in this discussion tonight, I haven't heard any mention about remembrance of the genocide and the pillaging that the Native Americans went through. So if we do raise an Italian flag in October in honor of Italian American Heritage Month, it is still a way to remind our Native American community that this is being raised in association with Columbus, Christopher Columbus. If we are going to move forward with celebrating the heritage, which I fully support, and I think we have a wonderful Italian American community here, right here in Salem, we also need to take the opportunity to remember what happened in our land hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So I don't know how to make this motion, but I would happily bring in a proclamation on October 14th to proclaim it a day of remembrance of our indigenous people. And I think we could recognize all the events that have happened that led us to this day, not just say that we only have space for one heritage and not others, or at this specific time. I think this is an opportunity to recognize everyone's either celebration or suffering. But the fact that we heard from our Native American community at that No Place for Hate meeting that seeing some celebration around Columbus Day or October is a reminder of the hurt that they suffered hundreds of years ago and still suffer today. They have told us they feel pain thinking about this month or this day. So we need to take our time to listen and recognize that pain, and I think there's an opportunity here for us to do that, so we can do both. So I will support raising the flag on October 1st, and also addressing my Ward 6 colleagues' point about who is doing the flag raising to comply with our ordinance. And we also need to take the opportunity to remember what happened hundreds of years ago to our indigenous people. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Sergeant and Council Flynn. And Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I mean, so much is changing so fast in our country, and we're revisiting a lot of our leaders, a lot of our presidents, a lot of revisionist history. We have to separate the facts, and I believe, like anybody, Columbus is due the presumption of innocence. That we have to separate online information from as much fact as we can based on archives. I mean, I was a history major at Salem State University, and I didn't hear a lot of this information about Columbus. And I'd like to take our lead from the Italian-American associations. As long as Christopher, the Italian club is named the Christopher Columbus Society, and the Knights of Columbus nationwide is named the Knights of Columbus, and other different Italian societies are going to, as they did send us probably hundreds of emails defending Columbus. I don't know all that information for that. So I believe that we should continue to celebrate Columbus Day for the Italian Americans, just as we celebrate St. Patrick's Day for the Irish. I don't know the whole history of St. Patrick himself, where he was born, where he came from, what he did in between. I just know that my Irish ancestors celebrate him as a holiday. So until the Italian Americans are willing to step aside from Columbus Day, I believe that we should stay with it also, and allow this to take its course, whatever that may be. But for now, I think we're reacting very fast to new information in our country, and I think they say Columbus is the presumption of innocence. Thank you.
Council Flynn, then Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do accept the compromise from the good Ward 1, Ward 5 councilor. And the people that spoke today, I understand their feelings. But we do have Italian-American Month, as we were saying. And I think we do have a lot of Italian-Americans that still reside in Salem, that still work in Salem, former Mayor Salvo. So I think that's a good compromise, that we can at least raise a flag for the month. For the Italian-Americans that are here now, in October 1st, I would be willing to accept that. And I think that's a good thing. I think they would appreciate that. And I think we should recognize every nationality, every race, everyone. All of us are born equal. We're all human beings, and I think they deserve to be recognized. And I do echo where it was mentioned about that section of Salem being Little Italy. I remember growing up, and that was, the church and the neighborhood, and there still are a lot of Italian Americans that live over there, and I think they would be really proud to see the flag in their honor raised on that day for their month. Thank you.
Councilor Flynn, to be clear, you accepted Council Terrio's motion for the October 1st date. Did you also accept the Councilor Milo's and fellow Councilor McCarthy's name change from Columbus Day to the Italian American Heritage and Culture Month?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Just want to be clear. Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. As the ward councilor for the Italian section, or historically Italian section of the city, I celebrate our Italian American residents every day. That's something that's really important to me, to our ward. But I mean, I think what's most important, the most important thing that I hope will come out of this conversation is that we're celebrating them, and that we're not tying this burden around their neck of tying them and the celebration of them to somebody who's done such horrific things in history, and he did. That's not in question. So I am definitely willing to figure out, I'm willing to work with my colleagues to figure out another day. I agree with, I can't remember who made the comment, but that even anywhere in October, I think somebody who's maybe not watching this broadcast or not paying close attention to what we're doing and saying may still make the association. And so I think maybe another amendment that a friendly amendment I'd offer, if we do, I think October 1st is, not my favorite, but it's a compromise that I would be willing to support. But I also, in addition to that, would, I think, and I don't know if I have to make this as an amendment or if I can just introduce it before that meeting, but whichever council meeting is closest to the 14th, if we take a moment of silence in memory of the horrors that happened. So that, I think that would also kind of round out the compromise.
Well said, good idea. Councilor Durant next.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple of things to point out that I just want to read again from our ordinances that I don't even know why we're continuing discussing this. Section 2-145, ordering display of flags. The mayor may at any time order flags to be displayed on the public buildings or on any city flagstaff. That was code written in 1973. I don't understand why we're trying to violate this. It kind of blows my mind that we will argue and say that we have to stick to the rules, we have to stick to the rules. This is the rules. When I read this, I called the city solicitor and I said, does that mean, because we've done it before for St. Patrick's Day, we've done it before for other days, does this really mean just the mayor? And she said, yes, it just means the mayor. We shouldn't have done it on those other days. The order should have been that, work with the mayor to do this. So I don't understand why we're still continuing to do this. And again, October is the wrong time to do this. After Mussolini was killed, after World War II was over, Italy came together on June 18th, 1946. We should, if we want to celebrate Italian heritage, we should celebrate in June. We should look to the North End when they have St. Anthony's Feast. We should be doing it outside of this month because otherwise it looks like we're pandering exactly to Columbus Day, which Columbus Day, and this has been well-documented history. If you read People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn, that came out in 1980. So I was 5 when that came out, and I read it. This should not be happening. I can't emphasize it enough because of our ordinances. And the reason why that Italian American Heritage and Culture Month exists in October, it's to bookend Columbus Day. What are we doing anything in October related to Italian heritage when me Italian, several other people who are of Italian descent have already stated that this is totally inappropriate? When are we going to follow our rules? When are we going to have respect for people? And when are we not going to do this? Don't do this.
Any further discussion? Okay, on the motion by Councilor Flynn, amended by Councilor Milo and McCarthy and Councilor Terrio, that the words be changed to Italian American Heritage and Culture Month and the flag go up on October 1st. All those in favor? Those opposed?
Opposed.
The ayes have it. Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions.
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. Since this is our first meeting with the microphones, the new PA system, I know there's a lot of tweaking that needs to be done. I am hearing that some of the councilors aren't close enough to the microphones, so I know there's going to be, every meeting we're going to learn something new, but if we can try to speak closer to them, I know 12, 14 inches is the right, but people at home are still having trouble hearing, so I'm just trying to tweak something right now. I know there's something that we'll have to tweak during roll call votes because that I made a mental note that that's happening. I don't mean to interrupt the meeting, but people at home are having trouble hearing people. So that's, I'm sorry. And especially where we're at motions, orders, and resolutions, and it's, you guys are speaking, right, and you as councilors are speaking mostly now. I want them to be able to hear.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a follow-up to that, thank you, Madam City Clerk. The thing with the fuzzy thing on in the middle, is that for SATV or are these for SATV?
Well, they're both, because SATV can't hear everything we're saying right now. They're using that as sort of a backup until we get better at this. So, but SATV
Because I just figured SATV was taking.
Well, they're trying to pick it up from this. Again, it's all a learning curve, but this will be the final product, you know.
Okay, I'll turn it off now. Thank you.
As I understand it, Councilor McCarthy, from the training, SATV will pick up direct from here rather than videoing it, and they'll pick up direct from all the microphones as well, once it's all sorted out.
I was just wondering what the fuzzy thing is.
That is SATV as a backup.
Not the fuzzy behind it, the fuzzy.
As a backup.
Okay, further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Flynn. We're on page 12, number 2.
In City Council, September 12, 2019, ordered that the intersection of Hanson Street and South Street in Ward 4 be named Keown Square. James J. Keown Jr. was appointed to the Salem Fire Department on February 3, 1963, and firefighter Keown sacrificed his life in the line of duty on February 23rd, 1981. Firefighter Keown also served honorably in the U.S. Navy during the Korean conflict from 1955 to 1959.
Under discussion?
Yes. I actually was in another part of Salem. As everyone knows, we have veteran squares, and they're painted on top of stop signs, black and gold. I noticed a red sign, red and gold, and it was for firefighter McSwigan, who passed away also in the line of duty in the 1980s. And when I saw that, I was surprised after working for the fire department for 27 years. I never saw that sign there, and I didn't know it was there. And I thought that we should do the same thing for firefighter Keown, who was a resident of Ward 4 on Hanson Street. A little background on firefighter Keown. His family history goes back over 100 years on the Salem Fire Department. One of the relatives was the chief of the department at one time. When I started on the fire department in 1993, I got on the job with Antonio Marfangelli. He happens to be the son-in-law of Mr. Keown. I also work with two of his sons, James Keown and Kevin Keown, and also his daughter, Patty Marfangelli Keown. And I can tell you there are no finer firefighters on the fire department than the two sons, daughter, and son-in-law. I think this would be a great way to honor him. The family I spoke to make sure that it was all right with them to do this. I think it's long overdue. A son of Salem, he gave his life for Salem, and I think it's the right thing to do for the family and to honor firefighter Keown. For some of the other folks that lived in Salem, at-large counselors here that were here, I'm sure you might have known Mr. Keown. The stories about Mr. Keown are unbelievable. He was a great firefighter, loved his job, loved the profession, and this is something that is really, really good for Salem and for the Keown family. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn, especially for bringing this forward where he passed away in the line of duty. Thank you for your efforts. Councilor Fury.
Mr. President, I had the pleasure of living next to the fire station where he served, and the Keown family is synonymous with public service. It's a real brotherhood and sisterhood that you belong to, Councilor Flynn. Amazing brother, police department, fire department. How lucky we are to have you serve 24/7, even now, throughout the city of Salem. Peace and comfort and dignity that we all can be. And the Keown family is synonymous with public service, and their living legacy is for the family to continue. So this is a living tribute. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any further? Councilor McCarthy. You remember that time.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank Councilor Flynn for bringing this in. I actually know one of my best friends is a relative of the Keowns. He grew up in the Mall of Beverly, and actually his brother is on the fire department. He actually was in Beverly, now he's in Cambridge. But anyway, that being said, I just have a curious question on this. I mean, typically we see these for veteran squares, so the veterans agent. So the veterans agent's the one who has the sign made and does all that stuff. This is the first time we've done this. Do we know? I mean, do we have someone lined up to do this whole thing, or
Yes.
through whatever agency? Perfect. I just didn't want to pass an order without having someone following through on it, because typically it would be Kim Emmerling would do the veteran squares and get the signage made and all that. So as long as the Goodwill Councils take care of it, that's great. Councilor Flynn.
I just want to add to that. Thank you, Mr. President. When I first started this, I'm the liaison to the Veterans Department. I talked to Kim several times about other issues, and I went to him first, and he's being recognized, Mr. Keown, as a veteran, but also the main part of this tribute is for dying in the line of duty. So Kim will be making the sign. The order did come from Chief Junta, who's been really, really helpful with this and getting this passed as soon as possible. We would like to do this and have a little ceremony. It's up by Upper Gallows Hill at Hanson Street. Once the sign is in place, and the city will be notified. And I think it'll be a great day. Thank you.
Councilor Flynn, I ask that you please notify all the councilors. I think many of us would like to attend as
I
well.
will do that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor Flynn's motion to recognize firefighter Kim with the intersection of Hanson Street and South Street in his honor. All those in favor? That's opposed. Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, September 12, 2019, ordered that members of the City of Salem Historical Commission and Historic Salem, Inc. be invited to a meeting of the Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs Committee to discuss the boundaries of Salem's historic districts. Additional discussion will include the recent renovations to several homes on Bridge Street that eliminated key historical features and how best to prevent similar losses in the future. And I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. HSI and the Historical Committee have played key roles, obviously, in preserving, many times over the past, in preserving the historic resources that are central to Salem's, I'll say, unique character, because that's what makes us unique, right? In a lot of ways is our history. Maybe I was spending too much time at coffee time on Bridge Street, but I kept looking and looking at what's happening on Bridge Street, and that's a concern to me in terms of the history. So I wanted to bring this in so that we could have this discussion, certainly about the historic districts, but also I want to work with these two organizations, committees, groups of people, to ensure that we keep our eye on the historical preservation of Salem and the importance of it, because Salem has so much going on. There are a lot of things, I think, or not, I shouldn't say a lot of things, but there are things like historical preservation that sometimes end up taking a back seat. So I would like these people to have a voice at the table. And I have these two organizations as invitees. If folks feel they want people from the administration to come in terms of somebody from planning or whatever, I mean, this is basically an open invitation to have the discussion. I just identified these two organizations because I felt that they had probably the most expertise in the area. So I'd move for adoption.
Very good. Under discussion. Councilman Dorr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to add one of the invitees as the Bridge Street Neck Neighborhood Association, because they've been very involved in these matters. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Okay. Councilor Milo, will you accept the addition by
Yes,
Councilor
sir.
Dorr?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, on the, any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Councilor Milo, as amended by Councilor Dorr, for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fury.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you very much. Thank you. Ordered that the Committee on Government Services, co-hosted with the Committee of the Whole, meet to discuss a brand new drainage pipe versus an older city-owned pipe at Footprint. Footprint has stated in writing that they would replace the older city pipe for a newer one. And be it further ordered that the following be invited: the mayor or representative, the city solicitor, the director of public service, representative from the Footprint, city planner, and the representative from the planning department, Mr. President.
Under discussion.
If I may, I'd like to read from a small article that Mayor Driscoll spoke about in the University of Kane interview. It says, and I'd like to just read it into the record if I may. Last fiscal year, Mayor said, our water and sewer capital program came to in about $3.5 million, double what it was the previous year. Not only do infrastructure maintenance costs present a challenge to the city of Salem, so do infrastructure repairs. Last year, DPW responded to 44 water main breaks. In a city that's only 8 square miles, much of our infrastructure dates back to the Great Salem Fire of 1914. So it's well past our expected lifespan. It's, in some places, we've even found wooden water lines still in use. Complicating all this is the centuries of cobblestones and street trolley cars, freezes and storm surge, all the other elements that serve the city of Salem. And I can remember Councilor Gerard serving as the recorder for many hearings at the veterinary school on the planning department and footprint, meeting with the mayor and many of us, and talking about what's going to happen to footprint. Now we all see footprint, $1 billion investment into the city of Salem, major part of the lifespan of Salem footprint. But in the original agreement, and I think Councilor Gerard would may concur, but in the original agreement back then, footprint agreed to have a brand new pipe. It's a 48-inch pipe, a drainage pipe. It's not the sexiest thing to talk about, a drainage pipe. You can't see it. It's all covered up as it is now. So I strongly believe that we should really consider not changing it. I'd rather go for a brand new pipe. I live in a owner-occupied house, and if the owner said to me, Tom, you have a choice of buying this house, and before you even buy the house, I'm going to put a roof on it. Don't even buy it, Tom. Don't even move in. Don't even take it until this new roof. Well, footprint is there. And they told us that they were going to give us a brand new pipe. The old pipe is an old pipe. It's 48 inches, which is quite wide. So I believe, like any pipe, like any roof, it's going to collapse. It's going to break somewhere along the line. This is our chance and opportunity to make sure we have a brand new pipe. They told us back then, Councilor Gerard, doing all the recording, God bless you in those days, God bless you, many meetings that we all had at the veterinary school to make what footprint is now today. So I sincerely believe we need to go back and look at the original agreement and say, why are we changing it? I had the opportunity to take this discussion, Mr. President, fellow members, to the Derby Square Neighborhood Association. Councilor McCarthy was there. I went to the Director of Public Works, Dave Milton, to talk about this. I went to 3 planning board meetings. I'm the liaison to the planning board about this issue, why it was changed. A brand new pipe versus an old pipe. Sincerely, is it a sexy topic to talk about, a pipe? No. But this is my last year on the city council. I want to make sure we dot the i's, cross the t's. I'd rather have a new pipe. Why are we changing it? So I sincerely believe a meeting, I asked Councilor Fenton have the opportunity to go to his Committee on Government Services where this could be all ironed out. And I sincerely believe it would be in the best interest of the City of Salem and the City Council. And I spoke with the mayor during a bunch of time, I spoke with the mayor tonight in her office. I think discussion and debate, a new pipe versus an old pipe, footprint, which is a major economic engine, footprint, a gas-powered engine, $1 billion investment. We need to get the best investment in the City of Salem, a new pipe versus an old pipe. And I hope Councilor Flynn will schedule a meeting, committee of the whole, that we can all discuss whether we should have a new pipe versus an old pipe. A new pipe would require a big dig, sincerely. It's all covered up now, can't see it. But I think it's worth considering. So that's why I bring this in, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, on Councilor Fury's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, September 12th, 2019, ordered that the fiscal year 19 year-to-date financial report for the months of April, May, and June 2019 be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, and I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Councilor Peterson's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, September 12th, 2019, ordered that the fiscal year 19 monthly financial report dated June 30th, 2019 be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, and I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Councilor Peterson's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, City Council, City of Salem City Council, September 12, 2019, ordered that the attached tag day license application for Salem High School boys basketball team dated 9/22, 10/6, 12/8, 12/15, 1/11, and 1/25 be granted.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's coming in as an order because of the time of the first one. We don't have enough time to do it, so we just, when we don't have that time, and they grouped a whole bunch of them together, which we had plenty of time for, but specifically with the first one, we don't have enough time to adhere to that, so we bring in some.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Council McCarthy's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Can I see hands? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Fury.
Council Dibble?
Thank you, Mr. President. In City Council, September 12, 2019, ordered that the new school superintendent, Kathleen Smith, be invited to our City Council meeting scheduled for November 15th, 2019, to provide an update on Salem Public Schools to the City Council.
Under discussion?
Yes. This is at the request of our new, I think, interim superintendent, Kathleen Smith, that she would like to come before our board, as she did briefly tonight, and give a full update. And she contacted me earlier this afternoon and asked that this be postponed from the October date that we had previously agreed to, that she had requested, to our meeting in November, so November 15th. Thank you. Any further discussion? Council Fury.
Mr. President, sincerely, as a member of the Salem City Council for 24 years, 12 years on the school committee, I believe this is going to be a positive action to take place, and it's positive motion on your part to invite conversation and dialogue about a school committee. But I sincerely believe the school committee should be entirely involved in the process. They should be invited entirely. The school committee is the boss of the, and they pick and choose the superintendent of schools. The superintendent of schools is an acting superintendent of schools. She's inheriting a great deal of challenges from the past. And she's a bright shining star, will give us a great deal of leadership, dedication, and compassion. But I sincerely believe the school committee should be there to represent her and help her out in any debate, dialogue, discussion, because it's for the positive interest of the school system, the children, the students, the teachers, to have this take place in the city council chambers, debate, dialogue, discussion, about what the great things happen in the Salem school system. You had your children grow up, and many of us had our children grow up in the school system. We want the best for our public school system, and having the school committee involved, I would like to have them directly involved in that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Fury. I welcome that.
Thank you.
Council Durant.
Thank you, Mr. President. Did you say November 15th? That's a Friday. Or did you say December? No, December 15th is a Sunday.
What I said was November 15th. Let me double
That's a
check.
Friday. So, but then can we ask someone to come here before we have already voted on our November meeting?
Sorry. I would keep it open to whenever our meeting is in November, because we haven't.
I'd like to rephrase that simply to our
Decided
November
for
meeting.
November.
Great.
Thank you.
Council Curry? Any further discussion? There being none. On Council Dibble's motion, as amended by the good Council Fury, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilman Dorr.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones limited time by adding the following. Essex Street in front of number 315, beginning 4 feet east of the driveway at 315 Essex Street, running east for 20 feet, 1 handicap parking space. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter, and I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
For first passage.
Under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This was requested by a young woman who actually just moved to Salem this month, and she loves living in Salem, and unfortunately she does have a medical condition that does not allow her to walk far distances, and her doctor has written to request that a handicap space be provided near her to offer some relief. And after Lieutenant David Tucker looked around the area, he determined that rather than in front of her residence at number 319, the better location for the space was in front of 315, and the residents in the building of 315, they had originally some concerns about that location. I spoke with them actually just before the meeting, and also exchanged information over email, and they were happy with the location. And so I think this would be great for our new resident here, and if there are any additional concerns, I will bring them forward before second passage. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilman Miller's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones, limited time, by adding the following. Boston Street in front of 156, beginning 4 feet east of the driveway at 156 Boston Street, running east for 20 feet, one handicap parking sign. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter, and I move for adoption, first passage. Yes, this resident reached out to me. As you know, Boston Street is a very, very busy street, and the best access for them to get in there, being handicapped, is the front of the house. And sometimes, a lot of times actually, they're unable to do that with the way the parking is out front of there on a very busy street entranceway to Salem. This will be a tremendous help to him. I reached out to Lieutenant Tucker in the police department, and he researched this and deemed this valid, that this was needed, and I bring it before you tonight and ask for acceptance.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor Flynn's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Medora.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, September 12, 2019, ordered that residents at the following addresses required to purchase parking passes at either the Museum Place Garage or South Harbor Garage shall be able to purchase a pass for $115 for the month of October in the Museum Place Mall, and that up to 176 parking spaces will be sectioned off on the roof as reserved spaces for these pass holders. There are 7 addresses. I'll just read them off. 7 Crombie Street, also known as Bluestone Condos. 11 Church Street, also known as Essex Condos. 281 Essex Street, known as the Latitude Condos. 51 Lafayette Street, Derby Lofts. 50 St. Peter Street, Iron Bar Condos. Townhouse Square Condos, and 141 Washington Street. And I would like to move this to Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs.
Under discussion.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. So this program was piloted last year at the request of mostly the residents in 11 Church Street, also known as the Essex. They felt that they were required to purchase parking passes as condo owners, but unfortunately they do not have a reserved space. So when it comes to the month of October, despite having a pass to the garage, they don't have a space. So we worked with administration and the traffic parking staff to figure out a solution for that and to reserve some spaces, guaranteed spaces for these residents for additional cost. And that cost was, last year was $125. That was the additional, the cost it takes for a reserved parking spot at that garage divided by 12. So that additional cost for just the 1 month for these residents. And that was very successful. People have started writing me asking if this is going to return. It was very helpful. So they would like to see this return. And at the Traffic and Parking Commission meeting, almost 2 months ago now, they decided that they decided to lower the rate, which I appreciated. I think they were going between $5 or $10 difference. And I've been getting some feedback additionally about the fact that these spaces are on the roof. And some of the residents, downtown residents, they don't feel safe either walking down the stairwell or taking the elevator in the evening from the roof to the ground floor to go home. So
This is why I wanted to move this to committee to maybe have further discussions with the traffic and parking staff to see if some of these spaces could either be moved to a different floor to improve safety, or a different lot for certain hours during the day, especially in the evening, so that some of these users will feel safer. And I think this is an order, so we don't need a second passage for this to take effect.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Councilman Mador's motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, Legal Affairs. All those in favor? I'm sorry, was that co-posted or not? I don't know what you
I
said.
would happy to co-post it. Co-post it.
Co-posted. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Mador again.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, September 12, 2019, ordered that City of Salem lot at the MBTA station and the Church Street West lot, also known as Almies lot, shall be made for use by Salem residents at no cost for weekends in October. And I move for adoption.
Under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is something we've done every year for October to offer some parking relief for residents. For Salem residents who would like to use these lots at no cost during weekends, they simply need to park there, and the parking attendant will just scan the plate to see whether they're residents. So it's very convenient and an added benefit, especially in October. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Durrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm not really sure why I wasn't included on this since the MBTA lot is in Ward 6. But what has happened previously is that people from other, particularly from other states, they have parked in the T lot and that in the crescent-shaped lot, and so that has been a problem. So I'm just hoping that we can have more regular patrolling of the lot itself, especially at the T station, because of the issues that there have been. That there was one day that I was walking home that I counted something like 7 or 8 cars out of like the 40 cars that can fit in there, and they were out of state plates. So we just need to be more vigilant about doing this. Thanks.
Thank you. Any further discussion? On the motion by Councilor Mador, that it be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Mador.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, September 12, 2019, ordered that the Salem youth organizations, for example, Salem High School Music Boosters, Salem High School Football Boosters, Salem High School Drama Club, and Salem Youth Football and others are hereby authorized to staff the parking lot at 297 Bridge Street and collect a parking fee of $20 per day on the following designated weekend and holiday dates: October 5th and 6th, October 12th, 13th, and 14th, October 19th and 20th, October 27th and 26th, October 31st. Organizations interested in staffing the lot are to schedule dates through the City of Salem's Traffic and Parking Department. The Director of Traffic and Parking shall create a process for fairly selecting dates for the groups requesting to use the lot as a fundraiser. And I move that this be granted.
Under discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This is just an opportunity to capitalize on the high volume of visitors to Salem during October, that these great organizations would use the opportunity to raise money for their great causes. And I am somehow recalling there was an issue with one of these weekends. I think my colleague from Ward 5 have brought it up, and we had to make a slight change, but I can't remember. So if anybody can remember, please speak now or forever hold your peace. Yeah, this has been a really great success, so yeah.
Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to suggest a friendly amendment to the groups already named, and add Salem Golf and Salem High Basketball. Coach Doyle does a wonderful job with these kids, provides them with a lot of opportunity, and is looking for a way to raise funds. Signed up last year and was left out of the list, but there's only 4 taken so far out of 10, That would make 6 and 4 left for anybody else signing up later. And I would ask for a friendly amendment to add those two, please.
That's fine. I think they're already included but not referenced. Any group can petition, I guess. Any further discussion?
Okay with the friendly amendment?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll accept.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion by Council Madore, as amended by Council Sergeant, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Sergeant.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of my favorite Halloween amendment motions to bring in. City of Salem and City Council, September 12, 2019, ordered that the following streets be given temporary status as parking prohibition zone zones, resident sticker parking from October 1st to October 31st, this would be 2019, to allow parking enforcement staff and police officers to enforce during the month of October. Thank you very much. Under discussion.
Yes, under discussion. I'm sorry, can you finish the last paragraph of the
last
motion?
paragraph. Be it further ordered that the fine for violating Chapter 52, Section 17A, Schedule of Fitness during the month of October shall be $50 Monday through Sunday, and that fine will cover all parking violations for parking prohibitions, towing zone, resident sticker parking, Chapter 42, Section 75, for either year-round or temporary streets.
Now on discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Quick friendly amendment. Hopefully Council Torrey will help me out on this one, for Margin Street to be west side only, as we did the last two years. I'll say thank you on that.
Yes.
Now, into the nitty gritty. The last couple of years, I don't know if this should go to committee, I'd like to pass it tonight, but I'd like to add an amendment for the rules of permanent resident sticker parking to apply to this, whereby temporary people are allowed to get guest passes for their guests. Last year we passed that, but it didn't come to fruition. They weren't allowed to get the passes.
I would suggest, because it's not part of this Council Sergeant, that you bring it in.
Well, I want to make it part of this. It's
Part of this tonight?
Well, yeah, basically, if we can pass this tonight, temporary resident sticker parking should follow the rules of permanent resident sticker parking. It's just a temporary version of the full-time ordinance. So, and as a compromise, I would simply add that they be given by as people ask for them, not mailed, because much less would be given out when people really feel they need to come forward and ask for them. That will be given out if we just mail it through to everybody. So I would take that as a compromise too. Because I know we're trying to get fewer out there as possible, but some people feel they need them, and if they come forward, I feel they should be given based on the ordinance.
I will ask you to reduce that to writing, so everyone will know exactly what you're asking.
All right, simply I will. Basically, we just follow the ordinance. Few things happen is that people are stuck and have to park pretty far away for a guest. The other thing is just down the road is permanent resident sticker parking, and they're allowed to do guest passes. So in that case, they can park just down the street in front of the temporary resident park in people's homes, but it doesn't happen vice versa. They're not allowed to do that. So that being said, I'll put that into writing if I can have the support of the council as we did last year. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Council Terrell and Council Madore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to ask for one amendment to this, that on number 41 Gardner Street be amended to be Gardner Street from Lafayette to Cabot. The reason for that request is the end of Gardner Street in question does have a lot of multifamily residences, and they'd be more burdened by people parking in that neighborhood. The section from from Cabot to Canal Street has mostly single-family residences, and many of those have driveways. And we also have two businesses adjacent on Gardner Street, the Salem Glass Building, We have the transmission shop that has cars parked there during the day and on Canal Street for service. And then we have Deacon Giles there, which has customers coming, in the afternoons and evenings, and especially in October. So I would ask that we exclude Gardner Street from Cabot to Canal Street and just do this as amended to be Gardner Street from Lafayette to Cabot. So I'd ask that as a friendly amendment or however.
Councilor Doctor, will you accept that?
I would accept that on behalf of the, I bring this in as liaison to the Parking and Traffic Division, so I would accept that on the behalf.
Thank you. Councilor Dorr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would also like to add a couple of streets here. And the Ward 1 councilors, it's not any different from what we've done in previous years. I just want to make sure that these orange signs are posted. Specifically for Chestnut between Summer and Hamilton Street. I think that.
Councilman Dorr, Councilman McCarthy is trying to assist you. Would you recognize him? Allow him to be recognized?
Thank you, Mr. President. I mean, we could sit here, I'm already looking at this list, I have a problem with one of the streets as well. Oh, sorry, I gotta turn this thing on. Some people at home, sorry. We could sit here all night amending this list. Let's send this to committee and get it amended properly so it brings back, so we're not dealing with this anymore. And with all due respect to Council Sargent, trying to give everybody who gets a orange tag, whatever color it is gonna be this year, to get them a guest pass as well. I have serious concerns that I deal with a neighborhood that already has 300% over the amount of passes and guest passes for the number of spaces on the street. And now if we're gonna open it up even further to allow these streets that people don't want tourists from, someone referenced New York, wherever it is they're coming from, to park on that street for the month of October, is it more important for the residents to be able to park or the residents and their guests? Because now they're gonna have this golden ticket that allows them to go park wherever they want. There's no regulations to it. So this is a very slippery slope that we're going down. And when you look at the regulations that the Parking and Traffic Commission is thinking about long-term in the future, they're talking about, eliminating 2 guest passes and a whole bunch of other stuff, which is, going to be referred to committee and up for debate. But for right now, for the purposes of tonight, we could sit here and keep amending and adding. Let's send it to committee. We got another meeting before October. We can make sure we get this done right. I would actually probably suggest that we pass it and then refer it and then amend it down the road to add the additional streets so that the people, to take the pressure off of Bonnie downstairs or the Parking and Traffic Commission or whoever is giving up the orange passes or the blue or green, whatever color the other shit, because they're gonna need time to pass those up. If there's gonna be additional streets, like I look at, for whatever reason, why the Traffic and Parking Commission limited Derby Street is in certain sections, which we used to go farther. I don't know what the rationale was, but it's not gonna work, so I need to put that back to the way it was. So if we could pass it the way it is and then refer the whole thing to committee, so no one's looking to eliminate anything on this list, I don't think. But we're all looking to add something. So we'll make sure we try to cover as much as we can, but also at the same time, let people know that they can go get those passes and they're not all gonna be running down in the last week before October. That's just my opinion. I'll yield the floor.
Councilor Sargent.
I understand what Ward 1 Council was trying to say, and I understand parking is tight, but it's just tough to see where a neighborhood with permanent resident sticker parking can have 2 guest passes, and then when your neighborhood needs it to keep tourists out during the Halloween season, you can't have any. And in some cases, a guest, especially an elderly guest, elderly parent or grandparent, has a long way to walk before they get to a place that isn't resident sticker parking. And those places are taken up by tourists also. So we literally have people, a grandmother wants to come over and babysit her grandchildren for an hour. She doesn't have any way to get there without getting and we raised the ticket price to $50. So that's the most difficult part here. It's just a matter of trying to help Salem residents, and trying to keep the tourists out of the neighborhoods. So that's why I feel the compromise is on a normal year-round resident sticker parking, you get 2 passes mailed to you. In this case here, you would have to go down and request it. And I didn't have a lot of people requesting them, but the ones that did couldn't get them. So if there were a case in one certain neighborhood where they would be entitled to, say, 100 if they got 2 apiece, it might be 10 people asking for them, it'd be like 20 passes. I think that's a pretty good compromise. There's not gonna be a line of people going down to get them, it's gonna be an as-needed basis. I feel that's a good compromise.
Councilor, I'm in agreement with you, but let me ask you, we're on page 18 and we have 39 pages to get to tonight.
Okay.
For the purpose of speeding things up and with several changes proposed by Councilor Dora and possibly others, would you welcome just putting this to hold and we can hash this all out and get it right?
Thank you.
Okay? Okay, on the motion by Councilor McCarthy, that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted, Council? Sure. Co-posted, all those, under discussion, Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are we going to pass this first and then send it, as Council McCarthy suggested, so that it'll ease up on the administrative piece of it, so that there's something passed? I think
Council,
isn't that
sorry,
what we're trying to do?
I believe that's Council McCarthy's motion, and I'm willing to yield to that motion.
You're correct. Okay, Councilor McCarthy, on Councilor McCarthy's motion that the matter be passed as written and submitted to us, and that the matter also would be remanded to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? Opposed?
No, that's not what we said.
Actually, it was.
I believe it
was. It's in order. But the issue I have is, if we meet in 2 weeks, or we meet between now and 2 weeks, and then we amend or add whatever streets that people are talking about adding, because the problem is, come, whatever the date is, add 14 days to today, 2 weeks from now, we're gonna then pass an order that's going to allow whatever entity's passing out these passes is only gonna give them 5 days to stop passing out these passes. So my suggestion would be that we take maybe a 1-minute recess for those councilors that are directly affected by this, and make sure there's no streets that we want to delete. I don't think there's a street on here we want to delete. Or, I know I don't want to delete, I want to add to this. So, the ability to add, I want to be given still that ability to add, but at the same time, recognize the fact that we need to pass this tonight, as we do every year, in order to make sure whichever entity this year is passing all these passes, be it through the parking garage or, I think it's through the parking garage, that people have the ability to go down and prove that they're qualified for these and able to do so over the course of the next month, what's remaining of it. Because if we only give them a week, there's going to be a line out the door trying to get these passes.
So, Councilman McCarthy, let me ask you, the way I framed the motion, your motion, was to pass these as written and to put the matter into OLA for subsequent possible changes. Is that correct? Additions, yes. Okay. The motions.
Mr. President,
Council, sorry.
one thing I must insist upon is the one change, Margin Street West Side only. That's just a typo. That's the way it's been for years. And if that neighborhood gets no guest passes, it's the only chance the neighborhood has of finding parking that isn't resident sticker parking. It's in front of, not in front of residences, in front of businesses with large parking lots. It doesn't affect anything. And tourists can also park there. It's just a chance for the neighborhood to have a guest park, a quarter mile away instead of a mile away.
Okay, Council Sergeant, I'll entertain that motion as well as the good Councilor Turiel's motion on Gardner Street from Lafayette to Cabot, which we approved as well. You accept?
I accept that. I might ask Councilor Turiel to put that in writing and give it to the city clerk. Thank you. And hopefully we're all on board.
Thank you, Mr. President. What I think, I was thinking through how the motion should go. The motion would be to adopt the order as amended and also remand to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs co-posted for the discussion of potentially adding additional streets and/or a guest pass program. Because we could do, because guest passes could be determined, and whether, how many, what form they take and stuff could be determined in some time with that. But so long as the mechanics of this are moving, with a couple of weeks' notice, a couple of minor tweaks that we could then take out separately shouldn't be too big a deal.
Okay, on the reframing of the, under discussion, Councilor Durant.
Thank you, Mr. President. Since I'm not going to be here for the next meeting, can I just add Northeast Street and Smith Street to this? Since we have Woodbury Court, just makes sense to add those two. And we have Lemon Street. My side is Smith. Or Smith. Smith is on there? Oh, Smith is on there. I'm sorry. Then just, I'm sorry, I didn't even, it's funny, I saw Woodbury Court, I didn't see Smith. So just add Northeast Street.
Is that a motion, Councilor?
Yeah, can I make a motion to amend to add Northeast Street?
Is that a second?
Can I have a second?
Second. No?
Like I said earlier, we can be here all night, and I respect the fact that the good council's not gonna be here.
Right.
Anyone who else wasn't, you can submit those to me in writing, send me an email, text, whatever you guys want to do. I guess my question is, before we start amending on the floor all night, if it wasn't previously in there, for some reason or other, the Parking Traffic Commission put forth this list. And I don't know if they had an issue, why, like specifically with one of my streets, I don't know, but I'm gonna find out, now that I've really looked at the list in detail, again and again and again. I keep reading through it, and I keep going, what's missing, what's added. And they've added some streets, which is great. They didn't add all of them, for whatever reason. And if traditionally any one street had been in the program, for whatever reason, if it wasn't, I just want to know why. Because come October 1st is going to be a lot of demand for this program and how it's enforced. And, you know, as was stated, we're raising the ticket price to $50 for resident sticker violations. That's a healthy bit of money, which actually makes sense because some of these parking lots that I'm seeing charging are upwards of, you know, $40, $50 a day, especially on the weekends, and therefore, I mean, it almost becomes cost effective to risk the fine because it's cheaper than being in the lot. So it's a delicate balance what we're trying to achieve here. It's difficult. There's a lot of people that come to Salem. Happy October, but we all kind of work our way through it. We all try to do what's best and right. And I just want to, I mean, to keep doing it here on the floor tonight is just going to be, but I respect the fact that the good Ward 6 Council won't be here. Just want to make sure they could.
Thank you. I'm going to move the question here. So on the reframed motion by Council Torrio, that the matter be granted with the following amendments: Martin Street West Side only, Garden Street Lafayette to Cabot, and adding Northeast Street, and referring the matter to OLEC co-posted. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Sergeant.
Thank you again, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, September 12, 2019, ordered that up to 50 parking spaces shall be issued by the Director of Traffic and Parking to residents who demonstrate an emergency need for access to resident-only parking in the month of October, but live on a street that is not limited to resident parking, either annually or only in October.
Under discussion?
Discussion, Mr. President. Again, I'm bringing this in as an order from the Parking Traffic Commission as their liaison. This one's a little bit more difficult, and I understand the need, and I believe it should go to committee for discussion, as it did last year. I don't know all the different concerns with it. But again, in this case here, if we were to issue that pass to somebody, they'd be able to go down the street that's temporary residence, sticker parking, and parking in front of somebody's house, when that house would even have a guest pass to allow a guest to park in front of their house to come over for an hour. So there's, you know, I know it's a difficult situation, but I would recommend this go to committee.
All co-posted?
All co-posted.
Right. Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor Sargent's motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Advice, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance amendment ordinance relative to traffic being ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 74, General Prohibition towing zones by repealing the following: Charter Street in its entirety on both sides, no parking tow zone, not to include service zone used by the funeral home, and replacing with Charter Street both sides from the intersection of Central Street for a distance of 700 feet. This ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter.
Under discussion?
Thank you, Mr. President. The funeral home is no longer there and in business, so there's become some confusion over whether or not where it does, you don't need that service zone anymore, so this will tighten up and clear up any ambiguity on the street.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Council McCarthy's motion for adoption for first passage. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Fury.
Councilor Dibble, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones, limited time, by adding the following. Moffett Road in front of number 17, one handicap space to be added continuing for 20 feet. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by the city charter.
On discussion?
On discussion, yes, briefly, this gentleman had requested a handicap parking space, and it's gone before our police department and traffic board, and they've approved this. So I recommend passage.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilman Medora.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, amending Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap zones, limited time, by repealing the following: Conan Street, handicap parking space on the even side, starting at a point 25 feet from Bridge Street and continuing for a distance of 20 feet. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter, and I move for adoption for first passage.
Discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is related to the street repaving for Conan Street. There is a handicap sign that is no longer needed there, and it's in the way of the repaving, and the resident needs the space in front of his house, so makes total sense, so pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Councilman Medora's motion for adoption for first passage. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilman Medora. We'll wait the reading.
No, I want you to read it.
Where is it though? I apologize. Should be. We had much of my message, yes.
Just read that and.
Parking prohibited towing zone, big one.
City of Salem, in the year 2019, an ordinance be ordained by City Council of City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Section 75, parking prohibitions, towing numbers, and sticker of the Article V-A be amended by repealing the following. I will read the reading, please. Thank you. And I move that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licensing, and Legal Affairs for posting.
On discussion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This has been a long time coming with some of the feedback that we feel as ward counselors with our constituents. They struggle with some of the restrictions and eligibility requirements of downtown parking, as well as resident sticker parking program, and I think there's some low-hanging fruit, so to speak, that we can make tweaks in the short term that will help the residents and the programs to make it more fair and equitable. This will also address some of the tweeners who are in between
resident sticker parking zones but not eligible because of their address. I think these are common sense changes that we can discuss now, but obviously there are longer term solutions that we're considering. So I'm really looking forward to this discussion, and I encourage residents who are impacted by this to come out and testify, because I have gotten so many emails about these, and this will be a really important discussion.
Any further discussion? Being none. On Councilor Moore's motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Legislative and Legal Affairs, co-hosted with the committee of the whole. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Committee reports. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, September 12, 2019. The Committee on Ordinances and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of granting certain licenses tag days, Salem High School girls basketball. This consists matter recommended the matter be granted.
On the acceptance of the report, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. On discussion.
Notice.
Any further discussion? There being none. On the adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further committee reports, I believe. We did that, huh? Communications from city officials.
We have a communication from the city clerk submitting an ordinance amending an ordinance relative to Chapter 4, Section 56, political signs.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption for first passage.
Discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to thank the city clerk for bringing this in. She gave us the heads up on this earlier this week with, actually last week, with regards to this. I think this is just, it's something that the clerk's office has been talking about for a long time. A bunch of us have seen this prior, and what it does is it just tightens up the way that, so the rules are very well explained and laid out with regards to campaign signs, yard signs, everything, just in case there is a violation, you know how to address that. And I think it's important. There's a basic understanding of when they can go out, when they have to come down, so they don't stay after an election. It's pretty much guidelines that are followed by a bunch of other communities, but this is just formalizing it to allow us to do that as well. So I move for first passage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to welcome and congratulate the clerk for bringing that initiative to regulate something that really matters and everyone is involved. But however, I feel that I want to make a motion to move it to be in committee, and I wanted to propose to be in government and service proposal with the community as a whole. I believe that this needs to be a little bit more addressing the deeply matter, so we all can have clarification on how we're going to address this and how we're going to be regulated. So if I may, I wanted to bring that as a motion. So once again, I wanted to move it, that this matter go to government and government, what is it? Government services and committee, co-supported with the committee as a whole.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will just follow up that, but I don't have a problem with that. But with respect to, I'm just going to ask the city clerk, does this need to be passed before the election so that it doesn't, so we don't have to wait for like another 2-year cycle? Because typically when we deal with stuff that affects the body, it has to be done in such a timely manner that it doesn't affect the people that are here, but then it doesn't potentially adversely affect the people that may be sitting here after whatever the November date is. So if you want to send it to the committee to talk about it, it's fine. But I would put the stipulation on that be referred out prior to our meeting, referred out before our last meeting in October. So well, actually the first meeting in October, because we need 2 passages for this, so that this can be dealt with. So that because this is the way we should be conducting business with regards to yard signs and everything that's in this ordinance, and I wholeheartedly agree with it. Maybe some minor tweaking, but it also needs to be dealt with in a timely manner, because if we don't deal with it now, and I don't like to say that, but then we're going to be to the point where yard signs or whatever couldn't be dealt with for another 2 years after that. So I think it's important that we, because I want to recognize the city clerk in her efforts, and this is something that always seems to get pushed down the road, so to speak, and I think it's time we stop pushing it down the road and actually make a statement that it actually needs to be dealt with, and I want to thank her for bringing it in. But I also would put that stipulation that the committee meet prior to our first meeting in October and refer it out for, if it's up or down, I'm not going to debate what comes out of committee, but I think it's important myself personally, so, but in order to make it adhere to the rules, I think that we have to put the onus on that committee to do that.
Okay, so Councilman McCarthy, you already welcomed Councilor Denise's amendment, or his motion. Will you accept his motion as well?
I do.
Okay, very good. Councilor Milo, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't know if this is going to complicate things further, but so many times we pass something for first passage and then refer it to committee in the interest of expediency. So that would be my motion.
Third. It works for me too. Councilor Fury.
Councilor Thibault, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I have to agree with the Ward 1 councilor in his suggestion, and good at-large councilor, their suggestion. I think that's the best way to go to get the committee to come back out prior to our first meeting in October. And then the good work that the city clerk has done, then we get a second passage, and it's all done in time. But if we take the first passage now and then we try to make changes in committee, it's like the same old four corners rules. The proper order, if you're going to make any changes to this, is to, well, we can do it all different ways, but the easiest and best and clearest way to make any possible changes to this is to put a committee first, have it come out when it's something that we like, have first passage, then we can tweak minor changes if we want to, and then second passage. But to do it the other way around, like we're doing, we just did in the zoning, it doesn't work that way. It's so much cleaner and easier if we just simply put it to committee, make our changes, and decide what we want, and then get it out and vote on it. Thank you.
Councilman McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to point out the fact that this isn't a zoning amendment and it doesn't require a public hearing. That's when you get boxed in the four corners. This is an ordinance to amend an ordinance. So the only difference would be is if we made major tweaks to this, would be that you'd have to advertise it again. So
That's what I'm speaking of.
no, you didn't. No, you spoke the four corners and went outside the four corners. We can pass this and then amend it any which way we want because it's not a zoning amendment. A zoning amendment, you have to stay within the four corners. This is just an ordinance. So we could pass it as was suggested by Councilor Milo. Because what that's going to do is going to take the pressure off the committee to come up with a date. Because I'm going to be tomorrow or over the weekend, I'm going to be emailing the city clerk about all that other stuff that just got referred to, co-posted to my committee with regards to Halloween. So I'm going to be taking up a bunch of meetings over the next couple of weeks. The available dates. Never mind, next week we got a primary for some people in this room. And so that, that next week, Tuesday's out, so then all of a sudden we don't meet on Fridays. But I can't schedule a meeting right now for a Monday. So now all of a sudden, now we're backing up. So rather than put the pressure on the Government Services Committee, I would suggest, I would withdraw my motion and encourage what Councilor Milo suggested, first passage, then refer it to committee, because that way it's cleaner and it takes the time period up, because then we can have until the end of October if the committee needs that much time to get the second passage. Because it isn't a zoning amendment, it doesn't fall, there's no four corners requirement other than the fact that you have to republish it if you make a significant change. And what I've read, I don't see any significant, maybe a few minor tweaks here and there, but I think what's in front of us is valid, but that's just my opinion.
Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I concur with the Ward 1 councilor on this and the at-large councilor. I think passing this for first passage is a pretty, and then referral is a clear thing, and that takes some time pressure off because, as the Ward 1 councilor said, the OLA committee now is going to be very, very busy over the next month or so with all the things that have just gone there. And this way, the Government Services Committee will have up until just before the last October meeting to be able to have their meeting and pass this, and that takes a lot of time pressure off. because otherwise we would have to get this back for first passage by the first meeting in October. So that puts us on a much tighter schedule. So again, I would support putting it into, passing it and then putting it into committee in this case. It's not always the best move, but I think for something like this, it's the best move.
Any further discussion? There being none. On the motion to refer the matter, on the motion to vote for first passage and then refer the matter to the Committee on Ordinance, License, Legal Affairs, co-posted. Is that right?
Government Services.
I'm sorry, Government Services, co-posted. All those in favor? All those opposed? The ayes have it. Further communications from city officials.
There's a communication from City Solicitor Renard to take the proper steps to remove Robinson Road from the list of accepted streets.
Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole to hold a public hearing.
On discussion?
Yes, thank you. I don't know quite as much about this one as I do about some of the other ones, but I'm looking forward to the discussion and the reasons for removing this from the list. And I hope that we put it into committee to have that discussion.
Any further discussion? There being none. On Council Peterson's motion to refer the matter to the Committee on Ordinance, License, Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole to hold a public hearing. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further communications from city officials.
There's a communication from the planning, sorry, we already did that. Sorry. It's been so long. Petitions. We have a proposed zoning ordinance amendment map change submitted by KR Star Realty Holding LLC, owner of the real property situated at 355 and 373 Highland Avenue and 2, 3, 5, 6, and 10 Cedar Road, to amend the City of Salem zoning map to rezone the property from Business Highway B2 and Business Park Development districts to the residential multifamily R3 district.
Under petitions, Council Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be referred to the planning board to hold a joint public hearing.
On discussion.
Yes, thank you. So, since we're referring it, we'll have an extended discussion there. But I just want to take a minute to talk about the process that brought us here. We heard from the co-chair of the Barnes Park Wyman Neighborhood Association earlier tonight during public testimony, which is a new, relatively new neighborhood association that's been started over the last couple of years. And they are the immediate abutters to this property. And it's been actually a really wonderful process to get us here. And we had a meeting, what she had indicated was a great timeline to understand the process, but it started in, I think, April 2018 when Councilor Flynn and I held a meeting at the high school to ask the neighbors not what shall we oppose, but what do we want this area to look like and how do we want the neighborhood to evolve. And a lot came out of that meeting, and we were able to kind of craft the future of the neighborhood based on what the abutters want. And had a lot of meetings bringing the neighborhood along in the greater neighborhood, depending on the meetings over the last year and a half, and got us to a point just this week, where that neighborhood in particular took a vote to support this change. And the conversation that they had was sort of this early step, this development, should this particular development move forward, it's going to take more than just this change, but this is kind of the first change, and it was sort of a more philosophical first conversation where the neighborhood just was thinking about what they want the future of their home to look like. So I was really kind of just moved by everybody that participated in the process over the last couple of years, and look forward to hearing from them in this chamber as we explore what this could look like for them.
Further discussion? There being none. On Council Peterson's motion to For the matter of the planning board to hold a joint public hearing. All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have a request from the House of Seven Gables to close the end of Turner Street to hold their annual fundraiser, Taste of Gables, on September 15, 2019, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. No rain.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Move that be granted.
Discussion?
No discussion, Mr. President. This is something they've done previously, and they've worked out all the details with the neighbors, and it's just a wonderful event. If anyone has the opportunity to partake, I think they send out invitations to all of us, but it's a wonderful event. It raises a lot of money for a very worthy cause, so.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, on Council McCarthy's motion that be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have a request from the residents of Roosevelt Road to hold a block party on September 21st from 2:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. with a rain date of September 28th.
Council Durant.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be granted.
On discussion?
Thank you. We on Larchmont Road have decided to move our block party over to Roosevelt because there are a number of new families on Roosevelt, on Felt, younger families on Claremont and on Larchmont as well. So we're kind of all combining a bit. So now it's going to be located on Roosevelt. And so it should be a great time as it has been in the past years.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, on Council Durant's motion that be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions. Council McCarthy.
We have a request from B&S Fitness to hold a road race, the Wicked Half Marathon, on September 21st, 2019, from 7 a.m. to noon.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that it be granted.
On discussion?
On discussion, Mr. President, if myself or whoever's sitting in this chair down the future, if the voters so decide that way, well, when we talk about any road race, I have a big problem with this. Look at the date. It's a little over a week from now. I'm sorry. They've advertised this thing, they've got runners signed up for this thing, and they're only coming to us a week beforehand to bring in a road race of this magnitude? I'm sorry. I have a big time problem with the way they're conducting their business, and they need to sharpen their pencils and understand that, guess what? Come January 1st, they can bring in all their road race applications because they're out there advertising. So the fact that they've had this road race prior, and they're using the same route as they have prior, I will allow this petition tonight, but I'm not happy. Because I'll tell you right now, because I've had multiple conversations with the different personnel in this city relative to the way they conduct business. I'll ask anyone in this body. Next month, we have the Devil's 666. Has anyone seen their application yet? No, because I've been asking for it, and I finally got it. And I'm not happy with the route. And I told them last year that I wasn't happy with their route. And now they're bringing a route to me basically a month before. And I'm not when that application finally comes in front of us, if I'm not happy with that route, I am going to shoot it down. I don't care how long they've advertised. I don't care how many runners they have signed up. The fact of the matter is, they need to bring in these petitions in a timely manner so that we as a body can deal with them. The Devil's 666 last year, I had big problems with the way that course was laid out and the way it impacted traffic. I don't want to see it again. The new route they proposed, the first call I made was to someone today was, do they realize they're running the wrong way down the one-way street on the new map they proposed? No, I didn't realize that. You can't run a road race the wrong way up a one-way street if you're telling people the street's not closed and they can flow with the traffic and try to exit their home if they're driving into a bunch of people running towards them in a group. I'm sorry. They need to do better. We as a body need to do better when it comes to these road races and understand that, unlike Derby Street, when we closed Derby Street for the Derby Street Mile, we do that. But on this one, I'll let it go tonight only because, I've asked for a meeting within the next week or so with regards to the Devil's Chase race because I am not happy. Because last year, I wasn't happy with the race. I let the police department know. I let the Park and Rec Commission know, and we've been in constant contact. But it wasn't until this week that we get their application, which is mind-boggling to me. Because when you pick up the brochure for haunted happenings, what's listed in the brochure for haunted happenings? The Devil's 666. They haven't come in front of us. How can they list something in a brochure when they haven't come in front of us? So, for tonight, I've said too much. For this one, I'll move to approve because it's something that's happened before, under the stipulation that they follow the city of Salem's ordinances relative to amplification. Because this is the road race last year, because of the nature of it being a half marathon, the police department asked them to start early. They typically start around 8 o'clock, this one starts at 7. They were playing, it was either Star Spangled Banner or God Bless America at 6:45 over the loudspeakers before the start of the race. City ordinances, you can't use loud amplification before 8 a.m. So I'll approve this with the stipulation that they adhere to all the city ordinances relative to amplification and noise, and they follow the prescribed route as was approved by the police department.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Giroux, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the front of this application, it says, please submit a payment of $200 for this permit application to the City of Salem Park Rec and Community Services Department no later than 45 days prior to the event. This was given to us 33 days before the event. Why are we even approving this? That's what I don't understand. Or why is this even being considered? Because when, Councilor McCarthy, you're the Park and Rec liaison?
No.
Is that correct? Okay, who? Dominguez. Okay, so I'm sorry, through you, Mr. President. So was this brought before the Park and Rec Commission, perhaps, like in a timely, that was earlier than 45 days or more than 45 days? Because this, I mean, what Brandy filled out, this is signed 8/19/19. We shouldn't even be approving this. I mean, and believe me, I'm all for races. As we know, I've run most of them, or I have. Why are we even approving this? I mean, Council McCarthy shouldn't have to get upset about this, and we shouldn't have to be stressing this and looking at this on September 12th for something that's on the 21st if it didn't meet the 45-day deadline. So why are we approving this?
Councilor Dominguez, do you shift the audience?
If I may, I want to answer to Councilor Ward 6. Park and Recreation meeting once a month. We recall coming in front of Park and Recreation, and they do all the diligence, and they approve what is approved based on the qualifications. So my answer to you, simply to my knowledge, is that coming from the Park and Recreation on a time manner, the fact that they meet once a month might be congested with the time, and that's why we see it here. But you can call Park and Recreation, speak with them, and they will give you more details how they approve it or not. But I will call coming from Park and Recreation.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll just leave it with, if I came across as angry, I mean, obviously, I understand the road races. I enjoy a lot of the road races. I take, I work some of them. We cheer them on as they run by the occasional one that runs by my house. But I guess would perceived as, I don't want to be perceived as angry. I'm frustrated at the process. And if we start taking applications coming January 1, then I just want to, my frustration is to put it out there that I want them, as Councilor Gerard said, because they've done this road race in the past. I understand all that. I'm not happy with it, but at the same time from now on, there's no excuses. You can start bringing in road race applications in January or February or March. You don't have to wait until the summertime when you get into a situation where the Park and Rec Commission only meets once a month. We sometimes don't meet at all. So all of a sudden, we're getting this application late, especially if someone has a concern. And I'm more frustrated with the next one than I am with this one. I mean, even as short as it is, the fact that I expressed my concerns about the next road race coming down the pipe, which is in the end of October, is I had real concerns with that race. I let them know, and I let them know that I would not be approving the same map as they used last year, and this was 11 months ago. And now, a month before the race that they've already advertised and have people sign up for, I'm getting the map, which I still don't like. It's better, but I still don't like it. So that's, I guess, I don't want to be perceived as angry. I'm just frustrated at the process. And we need to make sure that people understand that if they are proposing a change, because the way it's supposed to be set up, and I don't want to belabor the point with road races, the road race application should go to Park and Rec. If Park and Rec doesn't have any jurisdiction over it, doesn't start or end in the park, then they forward it over to police traffic. Police traffic then looks at it, They look at whether it's a previous road race, where there were complaints from last year, concerns, then they try to adjust the route accordingly and/or add police details to the route to make it function better. And then it comes to the city council for final approval. So all I'm saying is, I get frustrated when it comes to us for final approval when we have expressed concerns and they're not dealt with prior in a timely manner. So I don't want to come across as angry. I guess I did. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm more frustrated at the situation. So with this one, I hear what Councilor Gerard's saying. I'm setting the stage for the next one, because this one, as long as they don't start playing the Star Spangled Banner or God Bless America, whatever it was last year when I started getting text messages at 7 a.m. about what are they doing. As long as they're doing what they're supposed to be doing in an orderly manner, then that's fine. But when they start pushing the envelope is when I get frustrated, because the road race applicants don't hear the complaints. We do. And if it's running through our wards, whichever ward it is, then we hear them firsthand.
Can I suggest possibly bringing in an order to bringing the organizers of the races for a meeting?
We have done that prior.
Have done that?
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? There being none, on Councilman McCarthy's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have a following list of license applications for public guides, taxi cab limos, taxi operators, and vehicle for hire operators only.
Councilman McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that they be granted.
Under discussion?
Thank you. Just briefly, there was one question about one applicant on the list, which was raised by a constituent that that I'm going to have to address. And I had the opportunity to talk to the city solicitor earlier this evening. And the person in question, which they feel that they had some issues with personally, but unfortunately the way that the process works is they pass a test and they pass a query. So if they've passed the test and passed the query, I will let the police officer that's in charge of the guys, Doyle, thank you, be aware of the situation, just so the month of October becomes very competitive out there with tour guides for businesses and the groups and the competing groups. So I'll just make him aware of the email that I got. But with regards to the city solicitor and I had a brief conversation with the city clerk today, and all the boxes were checked with regards to query check and everything else. So the body has no jurisdiction over not granting a license based on that. So I would move to approve the whole list.
Thank you. Any further discussion? There being none, on Council McCarthy's motion to be granted, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have a communication from Lieutenant David Tucker, Police Traffic, to revoke a taxi operator license for Luis Pena Terrero.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that it be granted.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Council McCarthy's motion that they be granted, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have the following license applications for a tag day, junk deal, and secondhand valuable.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that I'm sorry. I move that they refer to the Community Ordinance License Legal Affairs.
Under discussion? No discussion. There being none. Any further discussion? There being none. On Council McCarthy's motion that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance License Legal Affairs, all those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have a following list of drain layer contractor operator license.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that it be granted.
Under discussion?
No discussion.
Any further discussion? There being none, on Council McCarthy's motion that they be granted, all those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have a long list of claims.
Waive the reading. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinance License and Legal Affairs.
On discussion?
Just briefly, I want to thank the committee for taking up claims over the last two meetings to try to clear out a lot of the claims that have accumulated in order to, in anticipation of all these ones that I knew were coming in. So, thank you to my committee.
And any further discussion? There being none. On Council McCarthy's motion to to refer the matter to Committee on Ordinance License and Legal Affairs. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Further petitions.
We have 2 drain layer bonds.
Council McCarthy. Thank you, Mr. President. I move that they be referred to the Committee on License, Ordinance, and Legal Affairs and returned approved. On discussion? No discussion. Any further discussion? There being none. On Council McCarthy's motion. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to solid waste management, Chapter 36, Section 6, and Chapter 36, Chapter 8. Yes.
Let the record show that Councilor Sargent has recused himself. Councilor McCarthy. Thank you, Mr. President. I move for second adoption for second and final passage. On discussion? No discussion. Any further discussion? There being none. On Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption for second and final passage. All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Let the record show that Councilor Sargent has returned. And can we also let the record show that Councilor Flynn joined us about 5 seconds late? I didn't recognize that he showed up. Okay.
Thank you.
So just 4 hours ago, whatever it was. 3 hours. 3 hours. Sorry, I'm a little slow. You used to hear the whole time.
Thank you.
Okay. Unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, amending Chapter 42, Section 10, one-way streets.
Councilor McCarthy.
The next page.
I'm sorry, Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Should I read the whole order again, or?
Oh, button.
No?
Waive the reading. Waive the reading.
Basically, this has been going on since,
Can you?
It's been going on
Sorry,
since.
Councilor, can you make a motion, please?
Oh, yes.
The last line.
The last line. Oh, just move for adopted for second and final passage.
Thank you. Under discussion.
Yes. This started actually back early June, where there was a problem. I had a resident had a problem with parking that lived on a part of Grove Street, where it goes up past Beaver. So I met with the traffic commission, head of the traffic commission, and Lieutenant Tucker, and we walked the whole area, and they had a recommendation, right where Grove Street, there's an area where it's 2 ways going up to the back of basically the AOH parking lot. And what happens a lot is cars go up there and then they don't really have a place to turn around, so they have to back out of there. And a lot of times what they do is they just keep going down Safford and Watson Street. So I got some complaints from some neighbors down there where cars, actually happened to me today, coming down Safford Street, car just buzzed right up, came around, almost got in an accident. So what happened was they recommended that they should make that small section and continue a one-way all the way down to Grove Street. And by doing that, they'd be able to add a couple parking spots on the left side. Right now, they don't allow that because of the two-way traffic. This wasn't my recommendation. This was the recommendation, as I said, Traffic Commission, who approved it, and Lieutenant Tucker. So after that meeting, there was some concern by the Ward 6 councilor about to table that till the next meeting. So I did reach out that night to the councilor, Ward 6, and Traffic, and Lieutenant Tucker. I never got a reply back from the Ward 6 councilor. So we came back on that on July 18th. Quick discussion, and the good Ward 5 councilor said that he was in contact with the Ward 6 councilor. So I was a little confused. I was left out of the loop. We explained it, we talked about it, and we decided to vote on this for first passage. And here we are today, voting on it on the second passage. So that's the basic story on that. I did not know about the gentleman that spoke. Public testimony had a problem about that. As I said, this has been going on since June, several meetings. When we voted on the first passage, actually, one of the residents on Safford Street, Mr. Franke, he came down here with his wife to thank some of us and to talk about it, because he's been going through this for many, many years, how this is going to help their situation on the corner of Beaver and Safford. And as I said, I'm still looking for move for adopted in second and final passage.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We have Council Terrell and Council Durant.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, just to fill in a bit of that gap, the Ward 6 counselor spoke to me because she does that frequently anyway, because we're friends in real life and not just colleagues. But she spoke to me about it and just asked, since she wasn't going to be here, asked if I could, if I could deal with it accordingly. So that's the rationale there. I will say, before this potentially goes for second passage, I have some concerns that the resident brought up, and I would, before I would support it for second passage, I'd like to see us have a way, have something in place to address those concerns, because that is a potentially significant hardship for the people living there. So, living at that address, and that could be a major issue, and it might be something we need to tweak it. It might even be that we need to deal with it in committee before the next meeting, but that is a concern, and I wouldn't want to make this final without addressing that.
Is that something that we could remand back, Counselor, to the Traffic and Parking Board for their comments based on these neighbors' recent comments here tonight? I believe it is.
Just to answer that, I think we could ask them to propose a modification to it. I'm not sure when their next meeting is, but I'm not sure if they're meeting before our next meeting, but if it could be addressed by the commission, that's fine. I would let the Ward 6 counselor, whose constituent that is, who spoke, address that more directly.
I wouldn't even be asking for a modification, I'd simply ask them to address their concerns, see if they're rare. Sorry, Counselor, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. President. My apologies again. I'm sorry that I didn't have time. And when I reached out, when I talked to Councilor Torrio, this was a quick text in the airport, just like, oh my God, I completely forgot about this. But yeah, and they're not the only ones. So Mark Pattison, who owns 2 Beaver, there's also, it's three residents at 6 Beaver, 4 residents at 10 Beaver, and 2 residences at 14 Beaver, that they didn't know about this and just want to have the chance to have a discussion in a committee. That's what I asked for originally, and I'm sorry that I wasn't quick enough to say at the June 26th meeting that I wasn't going to be at the 18th meeting. So if we could have tabled it until this meeting, then we would be here now. I think that it's insane. It's terrible of us that when constituents, when taxpayers are saying we want to be heard, we're concerned about permanently changing the access to our houses, and they're just going to be blown off for a personal issue. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, why are you sitting here if you're going to blow taxpayers off over a personal issue? I think that what we need to do, I already talked, and so besides protecting with my constituents, I've already spoken to Lieutenant Tucker, spoken to Dave Kucharski, tried reaching out to Councilor Flynn, he disagreed, and checked with Councilor McCarthy, also checked with the city solicitor that we could have a meeting in Ola that second week of October, somewhere like the 7th, 8th, or 9th, and then bring it out. And what I said to them was, please, just one more month. This wackiness so originally the road was made one way in 1978. Then in April of 1992, I believe it was due to the AOH, which I want to be clear that when you go up Beaver, where that do not enter is at 17, you can turn around in the AOH. And so that's why I'm thinking that's why they stuck the do not enter there, which under normal circumstances, I would say just get rid of the do not enter. But where my constituents are upset, they're angry about now they're going to lose the potential access to their houses that they've had for over 27 years. Like what? It's mind-boggling to me. And again, it's been a very tumultuous time for me right now, and I'm very sorry about that. I don't know what more I can say, but please do not pass it for second and final passage. Please, I want to make an amendment that we send it to Ola to be brought out with a decision at the October 10th meeting. So meet the week of October 7th, 8th, or 9th. And like I said, I already checked with the city clerk, and there's nothing on the calendar for that week. I checked with the chair of Ola, and he was fine with it. Everybody was fine with it. David Kucharski, Lieutenant Tucker, we're fine, just letting it go one more month. It's already been a little over 27 years. One more month is not gonna harm the process at all. But by not allowing my constituents to have their say at a committee, you're violating their rights as a taxpayer here, that they're not gonna be allowed to speak, that they're not gonna be allowed to address the city, that to address those of us that they put in office, to address their issues. This really shouldn't be an issue. It should have just gone to committee in the first place, like I had asked back in June.
Okay, Council.
So I'm asking for amendment that we send it to Ola, and I'd like that to be seconded. With co-post with the committee of the whole.
Is it a second? Second.
Mhm.
Okay. Councilor Flynn, would you welcome this change?
Yes, thank you, Council President. So,
Okay, thank
that'll
you.
make it.
Any further discussion? Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Councilor Flynn.
Okay, on, I guess, Council Flynn's motion amended by Council Gerard to refer the matter to the Committee of Ordinance, Rights, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with Committee of the Whole prior to final passage. All in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. Councilor Fury.
Point of privilege, I'd like to thank our city clerk for the opportunity of putting this city council chamber in the 21st century. When I first came to the city council chamber, George Washington, Gilbert Stewart was there. Now we have the 21st century. And I spoke to Dustin Lugo, a distinguished professional reporter from Salem Evening News. Dustin often said to me, this is not a legal meeting, people can't hear.
What?
Ourselves, in the audience, it's not a legal meeting. So people like Dustin Lugo, I appreciate their professionalism, it's not a legal meeting. And finally, we're coming into the 21st century. On a personal note, I was looking at some of the Boy Scouts, my son was a Boy Scout, looking there, and they were looking around this chamber and he says, oh, there's white guys, there's painters. They probably couldn't even name one. We just named a park for a black lady. Don't you think it's about time we should take a look at Fort right over there? Someone in the 21st century, sincerely. I look around here, I couldn't name 2 or 3 of them. Personally, I think this city council chamber, 21st century technology, thank you very much. The mayor, technological department, Eileen Simons, our city clerk. Now, city, your second oldest city, all in the country, she's from the 21st century. Hey, all these white guys, most of us can't even name. I can't even name. I love history. I have something in committee, but I think it's looking at those boys over there in the Boy Scouts saying, who are these guys? What's this all about? Sincerely, I think we have to come to the 21st century. Thank you very much, Eileen Simons, the mayor, and the technical department. Amazing. Very smoothly done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further comments? I just want to thank you all again. Nice job tonight. A lot of good interaction from everybody. So, Councilor Fury.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. President.
We are adjourned. All those in favor?